I definitely miss it. It's like when the Olympics are over. After those, it's really like, what is it? It's more like 16 days. They usually kind of start on the Friday even before.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like 17 days. And, nowadays they start dribbling in a couple events before even the opening ceremony. So you get 18, 19 days of Olympics. And then it's over. It's like, I got this vein ready to shoot some Olympics into, and I don't have it. It's the same thing with the World Cup.
I want to check some times, see if so-and-so won the 200-meter, whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like the
agree.
fact that the games tomorrow and Friday are day games. I have something to kind of keep our eye on while we're
Why do you
hanging
like
out
that?
here. I don't know. It's fun to be doing this and have a game on at the same time. I kind of like just the idea of going through the course of the show, and there's something else that's happening live and at the same time.
I like it. I like it when we get that, plus we get the game at night. I would like one at night as well.
Mm-hmm.
If I had an either or, I'll take the night over a day game. But that was the one thing we've talked about it before. In COVID, when the NBA and NHL went down to the bubble
mm-hmm.
and played their playoffs, and we had, they're like, okay, we got to get these games in. Like, we got to go. And that we were playing day game NBA and NHL playoffs. That was great.
Yep.
I did love that.
Yep. So was the baseball.
But we also
had
had
the wild
night.
card, that first wild card where they played 3 games in 3 days, and there was somebody playing all 3 days leading into the LCS or LDS.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It was great. I enjoyed it. The Royals, you heard it, 12 consecutive hits. Finally, someone's going to pay attention to the fact that we have been beating the drum that Tyler Tolbert's got to be an everyday player.
Yeah.
We have been beating that drum for 2 years, haven't we?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. No, not really. Who saw this coming? What the hell is this?
Nobody saw this coming. I said last night after it was 12, and I said, the word doesn't exist yet to describe what is going on with Tyler Tolbert. 28 years old, he's played fewer than 100 major league games, was batting 200 at the close of business on Saturday. And he had 12 consecutive hits, including 2 home runs. It's ridiculous. And it's like he's in a movie. He's in a movie about. We're all extras in a movie about Tyler Tolbert right now.
Yeah, and he has now pushed his numbers up to 396, 542. 396, 434 on base, and a 542 slug.
Yeah.
Like,
he was over.
Seriously, what do you do?
I know,
with that? Like,
he was over 400 before his last at bat. He was over 400 before his last at bat. Now he had some infield hits, but he also showed he had a little bit of pop. If he was 23 or 24, I'd be a little bit more excited. But do you ride the hot bat, or I don't know what? I have no idea what Tyler Tolbert is or is going to be. So I'm just enjoying the show, and I really like, just from a personal standpoint, the shot of him going back into the dugout after he made his out in his last at bat, and everyone's giving him high five, and he's walking down the dugout with this smile on his face, like, I cannot believe this is my life right now. It really was amazing. He was like, I'm just going to soak this in, man, because who knows what's next.
I mean, we talk about great, like the careers that we love. Like obviously, if you're George Brett, incredible career, right? Hall of Fames. That's what everybody would like to be a Hall of Fame player. And we talk about it with Mark Boddicker all the time about like how cool his career is. Because most guys don't end up being Hall of Famers, but can you have something that's cool? And the 99-yard touchdown for Boddicker, Trent Green to Boddicker, is such a great thing to have on your resume after having played in the NFL. His 8 touchdowns as a rookie, yes, I said it, Chiefs, and you should recognize it, and it should be the rookie record for the Kansas City Chiefs. 8 touchdown catches in 20 total catches. That's a really cool career. Tyler Tolbert now has that. Like, whatever he's going to end up being, you're right, at 28 years old, and a guy that, is even now, what is he now? Now he's a career 337 hitter, but as a guy that's been a part-time player and mostly a designated runner, his career, he is going to be able to say, I had 12 straight hits. I mean, his career just became really cool.
What's amazing, he actually has two things now, because not only did he have the 12 straight hits, which makes him one of it ties the major league record, but back-to-back 5-hit games, which you could get 12 straight hits and not do that. The back-to-back 5-hit games is even more rare. He's the third player ever to do it. The other two, the most recent was 1970 Roberto Clemente. And before that, it was a guy named Hy Myers in 1914 or 1917.
What? So it does speak a little bit of this is just kind of randomness. We always talk about, like, okay, when you do something, who are the names you share that accomplishment with, and it kind of tells the story of, well, is it greatness or is it just an anomaly, right? Like our old intern, Cougar, with his book, spurious correlations. His spurious correlations. It's like, oh yeah, did you know that the fish population in Montana directly coincided with World Cup winners? And it basically, he'd gone and found all these things that were completely unrelated, but how they tracked like they were absolutely connected into how things are. Like, okay, this has got a little more spurious correlation to it. Well,
it's kind of fun that one of the guys is Roberto Clemente, and the other guy is someone that was more than 100 years ago that nobody knows anything about.
Exactly, but it does speak to. I mean, and the other thing is, it is something you try to do. I mean, you try to get a hit every time you're up there, and so it is phenomenal. But I am intrigued by. So, what do you do with him now? Like, how does this change your view of what kind of player he is? And how much more should we be saying, okay, Tyler Tolbert's got to get in the lineup more?
Yeah, I think that's the last part is an absolute. And the secondarily, I don't know that you say, well, this is our guy at any particular position, but it is kind of like, all right, I want to see more of this now. I mean, because it isn't like he's 28 and he's played 10 seasons and he has, 1,200 or however many, 1,300 at bats, and he's kind of bounced around. He's spent most of his career in the minors, and he has fewer than 100 games, I think, in his career. It took him a while to get here, but maybe there is something there that we don't know about. There's no track record of him failing at the major league level, so why not see what you've got? I'd like to see as much of him as you can the rest of the season, and by the end of the year, if you've got a piece of any kind.
For the record, he's played 94 big league games. And his but can I point out what his minor league numbers are? His minor league numbers in 7 years, he is a 246 hitter, a 334 on base, 359 slug for 693 OPS. Excuse me there. That one snuck up on me. Sorry.
That happened.
I had to get some water there. Sorry. But I mean, like that's clearly he's going to be more of what that says than what these last couple games. But it's got to change your view, doesn't it?
I think it does. I think you have to open things up. And by the way, also before this stretch, he was 21 for 86 for his career. So it wasn't like he wasn't taken off. He was hitting 244 as a major leaguer before Saturday, or before Sunday. I guess Sunday it was. So there's a little something that's more reflective of what he was in the minors. But anyone who can put this together, you do have to open your mind to the idea that he could be more than you thought he could be.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and you pointed out where their season is. Why wouldn't you play him more?
Yeah,
why not find out exactly what you got?
Perfect opportunity.
Yeah. So, is the lineup out today?
Have not seen that yet. Should be coming out pretty soon though, with the 6:10 start. We'll check. By the way, speaking of funny stats. Fellow nerd, and he would admit this, Sam McDowell posted something last night. He said, the way too simple math on Tyler Tolbert's 12 straight hits. The odds of a 200 hitter getting 12 consecutive hits, 1 in 244 million. The odds of being struck by lightning twice in your lifetime, 1 in 234 million.
So you're more likely to be struck by lightning twice in your lifetime than you are to get 12 consecutive hits.
Yeah, yes. And he kind of was struck by lightning twice, 2-5 back-to-back 5 for 5 games. Five hit games. That's the major league equivalent of being struck by lightning. We've seen that it's only happened twice before.
That is well done, Sam. I love that stat. But just to come back to the point, why not play him?
Yeah. I'm there. I'm with it.
I mean, I think his numbers are going to be what they've been. I think that's just going to be the player. And listen, he wasn't the only guy who had a night last night.
No, they all seemingly did.
You hang 16. I will mention, though, that on my fantasy team, which is surging, by the way, in the American League, I have Bobby Wood Jr., I have Michael Massey, I have Jack Caglione, and I have Carter Jensen. And they scored 16 runs last night. And out of those 4 guys, I got no home runs, and I got no stolen bases.
It's bad. They've scored 31 runs.
I'm sorry, Bobby. No. That's 2 RBIs from Bobby. Let's see, where's the stolen base? Tolbert stole his 10th. Bobby got caught. He tried at least.
Yeah.
He got caught for the 5th time. But I got those 4 guys. Those are 4, Massey's solid. But the other 3 guys are studs. And I didn't get a homer. And they scored 16 runs. I'm going to tell you, that is the equivalent of opening a present on Christmas Day that you're all excited about and seeing a brown sweater.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They've scored 31 runs in 2 games, and you're getting almost nothing out of it.
Yes. I mean, listen, they had some runs scored, and they drove in some runs, but it's like, how did you manage to leapfrog around my guys? Lane Thomas and Tyler Tolbert are doing the heavy lifting. Yep. Come on.
As we all expected.
Give me a break here. Nick Lofton homered. But no, I not the big boys.
But no.
There was a little frustration as we were watching the score last night at dinner. I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is how are you just avoiding my guys with this big night?
I see it all.
And of course, so now we view them as being right back in it, correct?
No.
Yeah, no, not yet.
Although, that last night that was so amazing that it completely glossed over what at the time was a beyond comical misplay in the first inning. That was T-ball. That was just flinging around the yard. 3 throwing errors on 1 play, netting 3 runs. And we don't even think about that because of what happened next. We should think about it because at that time I posted, that time it was 3-0, and I posted on Twitter. I said, I'm not on the fire Q train, but that's the kind of play that causes managers to lose their job.
Yes. That's the kind of play that you look at and go, are you guys serious about this or not?
Yeah.
And that's I agree with you. We've said, what are the signs of when it's time to fire a manager? The wins and losses are a big part of it. That's where it begins. But it's when you're not playing competitive baseball, when you're not playing crisp baseball, when you're not doing the things you need to do. Even if it's in defeat, you still want to be playing the game right, and that's not. I think that's a great point. But does it erase the fact that it happened?
Doesn't erase it. I don't think it's still. It can't erase. I mean, because it's still things still happened.
Yeah.
It just mitigated
it's
the impact.
Not what you
of
want
it.
to see.
No.
So, yeah, that was we saw that early on, and what did that make it?
3-0.
3-0 Mets.
They all scored on that same play, I believe. Yeah, they all circled the bases.
At that.
They called it a little league home run.
That. Yeah, and it was. And then we looked at it, and it was 9-9.
Yeah.
And we're like, how did you just have this debacle, and you're in a 9-9 game? And, of course, then they blow it open in the 7th with 7 more runs, and then hold on, 3 more runs allowed, but get the win. But, yeah, that was just, that's baseball. You know, you go to the ballpark, you never know what's going to happen. You're in almost every baseball game, you're going to see something that you've probably never seen before.
Yeah, if you were at that game last night, you got to see just about everything you can possibly ask for in a game, including one of the more egregious blown home run calls ever at 9-9. I can't think of who was batting. They hit one deep down the right field line. They called, it's a home run, blah, blah, blah. And they're showing the replay. The ball clearly crosses right in front of their foul poles. They're orange. And there's no doubt that the ball was foul. They had reviewed it and overturned it. And the Mets broadcasters, we might play the clip later, are like, how do you blow that? I don't know. It's just awful.
Yeah. I mean, but that's, fun at the old ballpark.
Yep.
To quote Denny Matthews, can't beat fun at the old ballpark.
Nope.
That's what you get. I think, listen, they are now, what are they, 8.5 out in the wild card? Yes.
Yeah.
8.5 out. So let me ask you this. When do we take serious that they're, and again, I don't think we're going to get there, but let's put a marker on it. Now, we will not talk about contention. That should be time to sell for the Royals, but they've got a 3-game win streak. They're still just 4-6 in their last 10, which speaks to what was going on before that.
Right.
But where do they have to get to before you go, okay, it's about this year. It's about now.
Minimum, they got to get within single digits of 500. Minimum, I think.
Okay. Yeah, got to get to at least 9 under.
You have to have. Let's see, how many are behind them? You have to have more than one team behind you in the American League.
Yeah, the Angels are the only team with a worse record.
Yeah,
team.
You got to pass. You got to pass more teams. You got to have no more than 6 teams between you and the final wild card spot. And right now they've got 8.
Yeah, I mean, they have to pass 8 teams.
Yeah,
and the Rangers are above 500 now. So at 46 and 45, what we said all along is like, well, hey, maybe a sub 500 is going to get there. We're like, no, somebody's going to get hot.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to push it out to at least 84 wins. So, that's the pace you got to get to. Let's say it's going to take 84 wins. They need to go 46,
22,
and 24.
No, yeah, 24. Yeah, 46 and 24 seems unlikely.
Which is, let me look this up.
That's only 657.
660 baseball, 657 baseball.
Yeah.
That's all they need to do.
Which is they have to play 106 win pace for 70 games. Unlikely.
Yes. Yeah, 106.5. Like that is not going to happen. Right?
No.
That's just not going to happen.
No.
All right, let's take a break. 9133-810-810. I'm live at the American Century Championships here in Lake Tahoe. Our coverage is brought to you by our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things pavement. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com. Welcome back here on the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. No, I didn't see that. Soren Petro with you here at the American Century Championships in Lake Tahoe. We're brought to you by our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lots. You can find them online at gannasphalt.com. Talking a little Royals baseball here. If Tyler Tolbert, one thing I will tell you, if Tyler Tolbert, and we're not going to do the whole show on Tyler Tolbert, by the way, but it is an amazing accomplishment that he put together. But the Tyler Tolberts of the world are an important part of the equation for the Royals moving forward. Like, one of the things they have to be able to do is get production from people on league minimums. Right? To make it all work, you can't need, $4 million and $5 million utility players. Those utility players need to be either young guys, making their way up, to eventually be an everyday player, and they're just getting their teeth cut there, or they need to be guys that are like, if your utilities can be Tyler Tolbert, Nick Lofton, all guys that are, pre-arbitration, then you've got the money to go spend on a real bat.
Yeah.
Right? To finish off the lineup. And so, like, the Tolbert part of the equation, it's more anomaly than it is indicator. We agree on that, but just his ability to do that kind of thing, steal bases and do it, this is an important part of the development process, because nobody's going to completely draft and international sign their way to a playoff team. You're going to have to do some trades. You're going to have to do some free agency. But if you can handle in-house all of the mortar parts, and you're a couple of bricks short to build in what is a team, you can afford to do it if you're not spending $30 million on your fifth starter, your utility infielder, your fourth outfielder. Like with those all are $3-4 million. You add up the 10 guys that aren't part of the core team. That's a lot of money that's being spent. That's one really premier bat that you could have if you can keep everybody, keep that cost down by bringing up talent from your own system that doesn't cost anything yet.
It's another version of Moneyball to a degree. I mean, you need to find – the Royals are one team that needs to find value, and a lot of times I think people look at value as, well, how can you find a really good player inexpensively? That isn't the only way to do it. You don't have to do that as often if you can find a half dozen guys who can fill in roles who you don't have to pay 7-figure contracts to. And that, as you pointed out, that adds up, and eventually it might be a Stars and Jags type thing, but you can maybe afford to go out and spend a little bit more for one bat if you're filling the mortar with guys who are making the league mini. And I think a lot of teams probably lose sight of that, but a team like the Royals can't. They've got to find ways to cut corners at every spot. And as you noted, that's the more money there is in the kitty, the more you can go out and spend some money on pitching or a bat that you need. They're never going to be able to find the superstar that way, but you can find a couple of guys. We've seen how one guy here or one guy there can make a big difference in a lineup or in a rotation or in a bullpen. But it's hard to do if you're spending. How many times have we seen guys that they've signed to contracts? You're like, God, that guy's making $5 million and he rarely plays. That guy should be making a tenth of that. I'm not sure what is the league minimum. Is it more than 500?
I think it's like it's 800 something.
Yeah, he should be making that.
Or maybe I think it's 770 for
that's right.
First year player.
Yeah,
but then quickly goes up.
Every one of those issues you avoid is just more money you got to spend elsewhere.
You mentioned pitching. So I think we've done a pretty nice job of being positive and appreciating a 16-12 win and the run production and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
How concerned are we now about Seth Lugo?
Concerned. I mean, it's kind of been growing for a while. We keep waiting for him to kind of regain that form, but it's really not. Now who knows what that first inning looks like if they don't make 3 errors on one play, but they still gave up. He still gave up enough. I don't see him coming back around to being the guy they were hoping he would become. Michael Wacha is staying up there. Obviously, he's getting an all-star nod for it. But Seth Lugo's still kind of floating out there in space.
And he's, what is he, 36 now? Does that sound right?
Let me see. I think that's right.
I'm going to look it up here real quick. Seth Lugo.
Yeah.
He's 36.
Be
November
37
17th. He'll turn 37.
Yep.
This is why, and I'm not. I get tired of saying this, but I love Michael Wacha. If he's with the Royals next year, great. And I'm not asking the Royals to just trade him for whatever they can get. I'm asking them to try to engineer trades to get a lot back. But when you're looking at Seth Lugo last year, and he was a tradable piece, and you're like, no, we can't do it because who's going to start for us next year? Well, next year's arrived, and he's starting for you. He's not pitching that great, and by the way, you're not winning. So why is it like you're basically, I want to boil it down, if you don't win, if you don't trade somebody because you say you need him next year and then you don't win, in the end what you did was not make a deal if you had one. Again, you have to have one. It takes two to tango. But if you turned down a deal that would have given you some good young talent, you basically turned it down to facilitate the game.
Right. Or to, I mean, when that came out, and that was July 28th of last year, like everyone in the clubhouse, including the biggest voice in favor of it, was the voice in that clubhouse, Vinny Pasquantino, talked about how everyone was stoked. Everyone was jacked and excited that they had done that. And I think that got a lot of people to say, well, if the clubhouse likes it, they're moving forward. Everyone in the clubhouse is happy. It must be a good move. Well, now how's the clubhouse at 17 or 18 games under 500? When they wouldn't, that situation would have been helped out had they made that move when he was a really viable trade option. There were a lot of people were interested in him a year ago, and they went, we're going to lock him up for 2 more years at 23 per. So it isn't facilitation and making the clubhouse happy. That's not working out so well almost a year later.
They found their way to a winning season. I do think having back-to-back winning seasons was important for this organization. But, I think we can see, making the clubhouse stoked doesn't count for much.
No.
Shouldn't count for anything. What you should do is make your team better, not stoke the clubhouse.
Yep.
And I think if you're a player and you don't like hearing that, well, the answer is then go out and win. Go out and pay back the organization. So they paid your guy, kept your guy around. You wanted him around. So go out and win and pay the organization back that way.
Yeah. Because the clubhouses that are really stoked, clubhouses that are playing in October, they're really stoked. I've never seen a down clubhouse in October.
No. And Michael Wacha just turned 35. So, how many more years? This is the game that has to be played. J.J. Piccolo and his top lieutenants. How long is Michael Wacha going to be, a top shelf pitcher?
It feels like, this is one of my theories that he's going to test when any athlete is effective and successful past the age where you expect, the ramp down's more rapid. It's more steep. So it happens quicker. I would imagine it'll be the same way for Michael Wacha. This feels like, if you've been in Vegas, you've kind of talked about, gambling and having that idea of when to go, all right, I'm cashing in now. Doesn't this feel like the point where you're like, all right, you have that strategy, a kind of a mind. Wouldn't this be the kind of, you're like, all right, I'm cashing in now.
And I think, unfortunately, they will look at the struggles of Seth Lugo and be like, well, that's why we can't give up Wacha, because, now we'd be down Wacha and Lugo's not pitching well. So all the more reason why we got to keep what we have. Well, but we start from this premise. We know Michael Wacha will not pitch forever.
Yeah.
We know at some point he will become ineffective. Now it's your job to figure out when that is.
Yeah.
And so, okay, what do we think? Well, ERA since 22, when he really got things turned around after a couple of rough years with the Mets and Rays. 332, 322, 335, 386 last year. He's got a 345 this year. The FIP during that time, fielding independent pitching, 414, 389, 365, 366, and this year 392. So I will point out one thing. Only 1 year in there has his FIP been lower than his real ERA. And I think that's a good thing. It means that this is an interesting statistic, the fielding independent pitching. It takes out, it puts the true outcomes at play. And it's a good indicator of what to do. But he obviously pitches beyond FIP's predictions.
Yeah.
But he also, I'm not rattling off 276, 198.
No.
225.
They're all within range.
They're all, I mean, he's a 345 this year.
Yep.
Not a 245, a 345.
Yeah.
And so if you can't identify out of all the free agent pitchers that are out there, somebody who can get you a 350 ERA, then what are you doing?
Yeah. And it isn't like we just talked about Seth Lugo. It isn't like they don't have a cautionary tale in the same clubhouse. I mean, are they going to watch what happened with? I'd love to know what their actual opinion is on that decision a year ago based on where they are right now. If they think that was a mistake, then they should not repeat it. If they don't think it was a mistake, I'd like to know why, and they might repeat it. I mean, if they decide to give him a 2-year extension, is the clubhouse going to be stoked again? I mean, to me, I don't know how you can look at what happened last year with Lugo and not think we better not let that happen again. But I think they might.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what happens this deadline. I mean, I don't think it's going to be much, but Tyler Tolbert might have just made himself an attractive player for someone to be like, okay, steals bases, showing a little hit, let's give it a shot. Maybe he ends up being a guy. 913-810-810. Let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Michael. You're in the program, Michael. What's going on?
Hey, Saran. Am I on?
Yeah. Yep. What's on your mind?
Hey, Saran. I just want to start out with I'm a long-time listener. Never called any radio station before, so I just want to push out just that I'm from Kansas City, live in D.C. now, and you have kept me close to Kansas City sports for years now, and I just appreciate the show.
Cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I think I probably pretty much grew up with you, but I just want to talk about the overall overreaction to the World Cup game.
Okay.
It feels like everyone kind of forgets that in the World Cup it is really just one game, and wants to make these grand conclusions about where the U.S. is as a nation, and gets kind of, I guess, all their everyone comes in with their own I would guess priorities in that, but I would also just kind of ask hey, how's Germany done since 2014? They got out of the group, haven't won a knockout stage. Spain, besides this year, since 2010, didn't win a single knockout game. Italy hasn't made the World Cup since 2014. And I don't think anyone thinks that those are better soccer nations than the U.S. I think that growth.
Or do you don't think anyone thinks they're worse soccer nations? You mean?
No, worse soccer nation. Yeah. No one thinks that we are better than those nations in soccer. Growth is just not linear. And I really just hate this World Cup to go by, and everyone just really forgets how different the group stage and the first knockout game was. We have never breezed by a group stage the way we did. We breezed by so easily that we didn't even need to play the third game to not only get into the knockout round, but to win the group. That's how dominant. Those games were different. I know everyone's so disappointed by the 4-1 Belgium, and it is so disappointing. But I really think everyone needs to get a little bit perspective and see that, that's not normal. We had never, ever had such an easy group stage. We had never seen honestly, I know the group stage, the knockout round is 32 to 16, right? So that's changed. But we went by that quite easily. And it's extremely disappointing result. And I know everyone likes to think about 2014 in Belgium, and we were right there. But Belgium, they had 16 shots on goal. They had 7 this game. Just 4 of them went in. If Tim Howard's on the team, is it different? I don't know. I think there's a few really weak spots in the team that got exposed. But I don't know. I think everyone needs just kind of, and as Saran, one of the reasons I love your show is just how reasonable you always are compared to every other city's radio show that I've lived in.
Right.
Thank
you.
So,
yes.
I think
but yeah, I'll stop there. I'm sorry.
No. I think you make great points, Michael, and thank you. I'm going to let you go. We'll talk about what you said there, but thank you for the kind words. I think you make a great point, and I think the reality is, first of all, everyone should settle down because they can't do anything to change it now.
Yeah.
Right. And they can't do anything to change it for 4 years. And I think that's part of the frustration. I think it's a good sign. I think you need to hear it and you need to recognize that it's actually a positive. The positive is that people care. People invested in it. Some people jumped in and now they're going to jump out. I've had some people send me some memes like, oh, my soccer fandom. And, like it's now over. But a lot of people will stay in, the soccer mindset and they'll continue to watch. And that's what the team needs. Reality is we don't know, right? You're right. They did breeze through it, but it was also an easy group. They were the highest ranked team in their group. They didn't have a Spain or a Portugal or anybody like that was in their group that they had to contend with. So they did what they were supposed to do. I mean, to a degree, they did lose to a team that's ranked lower than them in the world standings with backups, albeit. And you mentioned breezing through the round of 32. I mean, that was the 60. Bosnia-Herzegovina was ranked 61 in the world. So I mean, to a degree, I think what's frustrating is I think a lot of American fans, one of the things I appreciate about European sports and about soccer has the tie. It's a different culture. I get it. I don't want ties in every American sport, but it's like we're okay with watching the match, and it was a great match, and the tie can be a part of the equation. In racing, what's the big adage? Ricky Bobby. Second's just the first loser. But in Formula One, you make a podium, you finish first, second, or third, you're celebrated. You're up popping champagne and getting excited. And soccer has more. It is obviously dominated by European. 6 of the 8 teams left in this tournament are European teams. And so it has a different mindset and mentality. And I think many American fans, certainly new soccer fans, just aren't aware of that culture. But take the passion, and the people bitching about it at least shows they care. Right. And I think that's the bigger picture here is that people care. The loss hurt. They watched. They wanted better. They didn't get it. And now they're upset, which means they invested in it, which I think will be good for American soccer in the long run. 9133-810-810. Let's go to Ryan. You're in the program, Ryan. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Sterling? I'm curious on maybe your take. I know I follow Curtis on Twitter, so I know that he's not, pro firing Q. I'm just more curious on what do you think, do you think there needs to be some discipline held? Because in my opinion, I believe maybe there needs to be something done strictly based off the fact that, let's be honest, our season was over in June. On June 1, we were like, okay, well, now we're 15 games under 500. It'll take a miracle or whatever. So I'm just curious on kind of what you do this offseason and how you go about restructuring this organization. Are you trying to win in 27, or do you think you're trying to start new and maybe take a couple years off and try to be good again in a couple years? I'm just trying to get your opinion on that. Thank you for
I appreciate the call, Ryan, and I think it's a great question. I mean, I think it's the question, right? Because this year is gone. Like we said, Curtis said, okay, you got to get to at least 9 under 500 before we'll even start to entertain the idea of you getting back into it this year. All of those things seem unlikely, right? So we're talking about next year, and the Royals are talking about 27, but I think it is the ultimate question. Should you be talking about 27, or should you be talking about 28? Or should you even be talking about 29 or 30? To me, you've got 2 important years coming up. 2030 is going to be the last year in Kauffman Stadium. I think they're going to get a big attendance boost if they're playing competitive baseball, because I think we're all going to want to go out and have our last couple of memories at the K. So I think they're going to get a big boost in 30, and then they're going to get a big boost with the new ballpark at 31. So to me, I look at this and say, for the overall health of Royals baseball, they have to be good those years. So no decisions can be made now that are going to strip them of talent in those years. Those are vital years to maximize your revenue and get it all going. So I'm not doing anything that jeopardizes those years. That's first and foremost. Then secondarily, I think it's tough. Like when Carter Jensen, I think this is, J.J. Picola makes a good salary. Matt Quatraro makes a good salary, and part of it is to figure out the strategy. And, because when you talk about 28, Michael Walker's not under contract. There's an option in there, but he's not under contract. So keeping around Michael Walker because you need him in 27 is, if you're not going anywhere, that's fool's gold. You need to be getting on to 28 when he's gone anyway and move forward. And you've got an ownership group that's willing to spend money. And they spent on Lugo and Walker with no grounds to really do it. They were coming off a 100-loss season, and ownership said, yes, go spend tens of millions of dollars on these pitchers. So presumably you've got the backing of ownership. And if you can get more talent to help you more in the future, then you should do it. So I'm going to tell you, it's a really tough answer. I am one that is a believer of make yourself as good as you can, no matter how far in the future you got to go, because the future will come. And so if I could get a ton of talent that's an A-ball and it's going to be a couple of years away from coming versus a guy who's pretty good in AAA, I'm taking the talent every time. And I think if you start making those decisions and you start using your resources, of which some of them are your big league roster, then eventually your pipeline will back up with so much talent that you're always flooding the talent forward. They have a big gap right now. I don't see who's going to come in and save this team. Next year they do have some money coming off the books, so they'll have some money to go out and spend. But I think they've got a lot of things to buy. And so for me, like we're talking about going and winning playoff series, I think 28 looks more likely than 27, from my view. I think that's the more likely outcome. But that's also, I will say this, that could be viewed by those in the game as being a cowardly statement, because more teams don't make the playoffs in baseball than do make it. So citing that as your inspiration and reason is basically just going with the math and taking the easy way out. That's why I give you my big picture view. My big picture view is go get the most talent possible. That's usually by taking younger players. And so I would take the younger players, and if we're not good till 28, that's fine. Because when we got to be good, in my opinion, is 2030 and 2031. 913-810-810. I'm broadcasting live for the American Century Championships here in Lake Tahoe. More of your phone calls. Got a couple people on the lines. We'll get to your calls next here in the program.
The program with Soren Petro.
Fred, yeah, embrace it. What else you going to do, man?
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Listen, I hope you know the Plumbing Pro can handle any and all of your plumbing needs, no matter what it might be. Sewer, septic, drain installation, and repair, whether it's a backhoe that's needed in your yard because that main line's got a problem, or maybe you've got your low-impact pipe bursting. That's right. A lot of times they can save your landscaping, your driveways, your sidewalks, all of that with their low-impact pipe bursting. If you've got a problem from that main line, ask them. Call the Plumbing Pro. The one to know is the Plumbing Pro. Call 816-763-8200. Find them online at theplumbingpro.com. They basically thread a new pipe inside the old one. Those old clay pipes just basically burst on the outside. Now you've got a perfect functioning main line coming in. The Plumbing Pro does that. And did you know that the Plumbing Pro can remodel your bathroom? That's right. Bathrooms, tubs, showers. They do it all. They've been serving Kansas City since 1980. And they do a phenomenal job of overhauling that bathroom. So if you've got an old, worn-out bathroom, call the Plumbing Pro. That's what we did at my mom's house. Right now, if you call and ask for the Petro deal, you can get $2,000 off a new tub or shower replacement. That's right. Call the Plumbing Pro today and get that new bathroom you've always wanted. Call 816-763-8200. Find them online at theplumbingpro.com. Again, remember theplumbingpro.com. Remember, the one to know is the Plumbing Pro.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Give me one good reason why I should call DM Law.
How about 3 great reasons? 1, it's easy. 2, it's fast. 3, the results.
Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Baseball's better from your seat, not the bathroom line. Jeff Montgomery here. If you're taking multiple trips to the bathroom,
All right, welcome back here to Tahoe, American Century Championship, where we are broadcasting today, taking your phone calls, 913-388-1010. Let's go to Cheap. You're the program, Cheap. What's on your mind, buddy? Wrap us up this hour.
Yes, sir. Seren, I was having a conversation with you last month about why I thought the Chiefs, since that the Royals were moving, that the Chiefs should stay where they're at because they already have a parking lot. And so you explained the financial reason why they're moving, but here's two reasons why I think they're going to lose money. The first reason is I can't see people from Blue Springs or Raymore dropping 20 or 30 miles out to western Wyandotte County to watch the Chiefs play. And then the second thing is that when people from L.A. and New York come to Kansas City to watch their teams play against the Chiefs, is for them to take an Uber from downtown Marriott out to western Wyandotte County and back, that's going to be $100. So
they ain't going to take an Uber. They're going to stay in the hotel that the Chiefs are going to build right next to the stadium.
Yeah, but I still think they're going to. I still think they're going to lose money, but I could be wrong. But we'll see.
We'll see. I appreciate the call, Chief. Thank you very much. I mean, I listen. It's happening.
Yeah.
You know, whether we like it or not, it's happening. I see your point, but to all the things you're talking about, I mean, they you know. I agree that there'll be some people that are like, I'm not going to truck it all the way from Blue Springs. Most of them, the Chiefs are a one-day-a-week event, one day every other week on average.
If they're good
throughout the fall,
they'll show up.
If they're good, they're going to go.
Yeah.
And whatever distance you lost, whatever people you lose because of the distance out east, you gained all of Lawrence. You gained Topeka. You gain all those communities where it just became a much easier drive for them. So, listen, I don't know. It might be more people that you lose proximity-wise than you gain, but you don't lose them all. You don't lose them all. And, see my original point when you called before. It's still about generating revenue, and that's not going to happen at the Truman Sports Complex. It's only going to happen at a new stadium where they control all the land and have something else already going on to where they can build even more. That's going to happen in KCK.
All right, how many Royals have had 2 5-hit games in the same season? Brought to you by Twin Peaks.
You're in the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Soren Petro with you live at the American Century Championships here in Lake Tahoe. Our coverage brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Coming up in our next couple of segments, we're going to go down and talk to Todd Lebo. He is on assignment today at the Big 12 Media Day. So we'll talk some college football with Todd Lebo in a minute. Several things I want to get to that we haven't gotten to yet. One of them is the fact that the NCAA is investigating Cincinnati, right, over the Sorsby one. By the way, is this not the most duh thing ever?
Yes. This is definitely dog bites man.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. So you have that part of it. And we're going to talk here in a second. Jay Billis is walking over, and we're going to talk to Jay Billis here in a second. He'll join us here in the program as we'll talk a little college basketball, talk college athletics in general. But yeah, that story coming down today, I think is interesting, and the one that oh yeah, of course that's going to happen. It was inevitable that it was going to happen. Let's talk some college basketball. Jay Billis from ESPN joins us here in the program right now. Jay, how are you, sir?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing very good. I'm in Tahoe. It's beautiful. It's not 95 and muggy like
not
it is
a lot
at
to
home.
Complain about.
Yeah, it's doing just fine. How are you? How's Tahoe treating you so far?
Awesome. I mean, how could you be anything but fine here? It's so spectacularly beautiful. The golf course has never been better. It's just spectacular.
I want to ask you about deals being signed on jerseys. Where do you sit on one? The Big 12 is going to put Monster Energy all over their fields and courts and jerseys, and now KU has got a deal coming where they're going to be putting its Ripple XRP, whatever that is.
Yeah,
I think it's some kind of finance type of thing. What's your reaction to that?
Why'd they wait so long? I mean, let's not act like there's not signage all over the building when you walk in, and they're not cutting deals left and right where they feel like it. So what difference does it make whether it's on the uniform or not? It's on the uniform in the NBA, the WNBA. It's on every uniform in the World Cup. It's on uniforms all over the world. They've been doing it for years, if not decades, and there's no reason that you wouldn't do that. And what I would ask is for people who want to be, clutch their pearls on this is, did it bother you that the clothing manufacturers had their logos on it for all these years?
No.
Of course not. It's just business. And the players deserve to get paid. Everybody needs to stop worrying about this. Players deserve to get paid. You can still have them go to school and get their degrees and walk within the crosswalk and help the little ladies across the street and do whatever you want them to do, but they deserve to get paid. When you're paying a 16-year-old working at a McDonald's, you can't tell me that you shouldn't be paying an 18 to a 24-year-old that's working day to day in a multi-billion-dollar entertainment industry. It's laughably stupid to suggest otherwise.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any going back. I mean, we are where we are. The question is, when we're seeing all these schools, it turns out that even though this is academia, it's supposed to be our smart folks, and we're supposed to be training, future leaders for our country, right? In colleges, they spend like George Steinbrenner, but without the shipbuilding empire, behind it. I
would differ with you on that.
Okay.
Because the teams, by and large, the rosters make less than the coaching staffs. And does anyone with a straight face want to suggest that the coaches are worth more than the players? They're not. That doesn't happen in any other multi-billion-dollar sport.
No, and that is where, Andy Reid makes a big check, but Patrick Mahomes makes a lot more. Yeah, I totally get that. But, when you hear Louisville's borrowing money, and a lot of it's like the football rosters we're talking about, the estimations are that the top teams are at close to $50 million now. So the coaching staffs, they're pretty highly paid, but I don't think they're probably
getting
near
$50 million.
Ohio State, Alabama. I think they were like 6 or 7
They're saying
schools.
that. I don't think that's true.
And I've heard that too. That whatever number you hear, I used to say it's kind of like when you go to Vegas and a guy comes back and goes, "Yeah, I won $500. Divide by 2 and subtract 200, and you have the real number. You won $50."
Well, first of all, my question would be, who cares? That's their business. Spend what you want. It's a great discussion, what you're saying about academia and training future leaders and all that stuff. That's a great discussion to have on your campus. It is not a great discussion to have in a boardroom where we're talking about the entire industry. That's why the NCAA has been in court for all these years fighting antitrust lawsuits, is because they're colluding to limit the wages of players only. And if that were so important to your education that you make no money while you're pursuing your education and puffing up a big brain before you go out in the real world, then the schools would have restrictions on every student on whether they could work while they're in school and make money while they're in school. No student other than an athlete is told how much they can make and what they can earn or accept in the marketplace while they're in school. The only student that's told that traditionally has been an athlete.
Yeah.
And how does that make any sense?
Well, but I don't dispute that. I'm just saying, my question to you is that you would agree that there's a limit to what?
No, I would not agree.
There's no limit.
No.
Like there's clearly a limit. There's a limit to what everybody can spend. However much money you got.
You may have a limit. You may decide your own limit, but there's no. What's the limit on coaching salaries? Like, who thought that Nick Saban should make $10 million a year?
I agree it goes up, but there is no one. They're not making 50. They're not making 100 million.
Well, they're not making 50. Players are making a certain amount, and they add it all up. Because when you add up what the staffs make on these football teams, their staffs are huge. Like, take Alabama, for example. What do you think their strength coach makes?
Probably, I think he's like probably $500,000.
Over $1 million.
Okay.
Strength coach. Lift that weight. I think I could do that. Now, obviously, I'm joking. But, like, who says what they should pay the strength coach?
Yeah.
Because nobody knows that stuff.
Right.
Like we do, but nobody knows that stuff, and they don't care. What they care about now, because we talk about it all the time, is they care what the players make, because they used to be at zero. And zero indicated control over the athlete. We have control. That athlete can't go anywhere. The coaches talk about the players don't want to go through adversity anymore. Like in recruiting, they would go into their living rooms and tell their parents, your son is going to have a tremendous amount of adversity playing for me. I mean, I'm going to knock him down in the dirt, and he'll be lucky if he plays. They didn't say that.
Yeah.
They did not say that. But the players couldn't go anywhere in the past without sitting out a year. And now they can. And it's not a loyalty issue. It's an issue of business. And if there's a better offer, if I feel like you didn't tell me the truth, or I'm not playing the position you told me I'm going to play, I can look elsewhere. And, hey, the coaches do it. I mean, we had a coach last year. He's a great guy, Brian Hodgson at South Florida. Great guy. And I hesitate to even say this because I don't want it to come off as negative on him, because I'm not. But after their season ended, and they had a great year at South Florida, he sat on a podium and basically waved his finger at everybody and said, stay away from my players. Like, don't you tamper with my players. In kind of a threatening manner. He's not going to do anything about it.
Right.
But he's big enough he could. 2 weeks later, he was at Providence. So, you're sitting here going, that's not tampering?
Yeah.
So Providence didn't tamper with him.
Yeah.
We got to stop talking out of both sides of our mouths on this thing.
And again, not to keep coming back to the dollars, but if Louisville if the numbers are accurate, 15 million, 30 million in the red, if they're borrowing from the academic side, they can do it. They can do whatever they want. It's their university. I get your point of that. It's free country. Do whatever you want. But isn't that ultimately going to be a problem? I guess, what do you think the system needs to become for it to be, yes, the players are getting theirs, as they should. I agree with you 100%. But also the universities are still thriving. And don't listen. I say that as a guy who's frustrated as hell by the cost of education in this country for the regular student, and especially schools, the big ones, sitting on billions and billions of dollars in endowment. I think it's reprehensible. So I'm not trying to say they're the little guys that are getting picked on, but for them to be healthy overall, for the universities to be healthy academically overall, they can't be hemorrhaging money into the athletic department for year after year after year, can they?
Louisville's only one example.
Yes.
And just because they've, it seems like I haven't looked at their books, but if you're suggesting they're financially mismanaged, that's one place. And so if they don't have the money, then don't spend it. But they clearly think that athletics is important, or they wouldn't be doing this. They've got a board of trustees and a president and all that. If they don't want to do it, don't do it. Like, if you don't feel like...
So you think the natural marketplace will take care of itself?
Yes, I absolutely believe that. But if you want to have a system that has a salary cap on players, then collectively bargain it with the players. The players have to agree to that.
Yeah.
The NBA and the NFL, they agreed to it. But they also have minimums, and they have work conditions and certain things that the league owners and the players agree to that's in they feel like is in the best interest of the overall enterprise. I'm sure that college players would do that. And we could have the cost certainty that so many people say that they want. But when the money goes way up and coaches' salaries went way up, which started in 1984, when that happened, and we're talking about billions of dollars in revenues here, nobody mentioned what you're mentioning. Nobody said, hey, wait a minute, pump the brakes now. We coaches shouldn't be making this much money. Let's stop doing this. And we shouldn't be playing games at Tuesday at 9:30 at night, and we shouldn't be extending our seasons past the first semester. We shouldn't be doing all these things. If the NCAA's primary source of revenue is the NCAA tournament, right? If they wanted this to be like Division II, they could make it. And I would ask you, how does Division II, without making any revenue at all, how can they afford to have 27 sports at all these different schools?
Well, and you probably know better than me, so I'm probably going to walk right into whatever trap I think you're setting here.
No, it's not a trap; it's a question.
Well, I know in talking with people at the MIAA, which is D2, I think, local conference in our backyard in Kansas City, they get money from the NCAA tournament.
Right.
And that's what the big schools don't like, is they're not getting every single penny.
Well, they may not like it, but they're also spending in line with what they say their values and their mission are, right? But the NCAA, they have, and to your original question on the logos on the jersey, the NCAA has logos on they sell everything. Mm-hmm. You can't even bring a drink into a practice. I can't bring a Starbucks cup into a practice when it's a closed practice because they've done a deal with Dasani or something like that. So they have to pour everything into one of their sponsors' cups, stuff like that. And that's fine. I get it. But when you think about like Augusta National Golf Club that runs the Masters tournament, they could make so much more money than they make right now, but they don't sell out. Like they charge $2 for a sandwich, and the stuff that they sell in the merchandise shop is reasonably priced. And they don't have a million commercials because they're not trying to over commercial it. There's not a ton of signage out on the golf course. The amount of money they could make if they wanted to would be astronomical, but they keep it within their value system. And tell me that the NCAA does that. They don't.
Could they? Will they?
No. They talk a good game. Like everybody talks a good game when they get in front of Congress and they're begging for an antitrust exemption. Like this is about and look, all respect to my colleague Nick Saban, my colleague now at ESPN. He's a wonderful guy, one of the great coaches of all time, a brilliant mind. But when he's there talking about education, when he was making $10 million a year running essentially a pro football team, it rings hollow to me. I just don't buy that. And one, it can still be about both. Like money and education are not mutually exclusive. Like how can somebody who, coaches that make millions upon millions of dollars be dedicated to education, but an athlete that makes zero, we say he's dedicated to education, he or she, but then they make money. We go, wait a minute, this wasn't what it's supposed to be about. Like who said it was supposed to be about any of this? Like, and who's declaring what it's supposed to be about? Like Moses came down on Mount Sinai with a third tablet. Here's what college sports is supposed to be about. It's all this stuff is just ludicrous. And here's the thing that has always frosted me. I was on an NCAA committee when I was in college. And so I learned how the system worked, and I've been covering this ever since. So it's been 40 plus years of listening to the stuff. And they told us with a straight face that, hey man, you start paying the players and everybody's going to turn away from the product. They're not going to be interested. Then it becomes professional. It's indistinguishable from the NBA, the G League. What's the difference? Minor league baseball. You're like, yeah, minor league baseball. Minor league baseball does not make billions of dollars and pay their coaches millions and have television contracts. Come on now. It's not minor league. It's major league. But as soon as we went to NIL 5 years ago, where'd the ratings go? Up. The ratings are higher than they've ever been.
Why do you think that is?
Because the fans don't care. They want their games.
Yeah, but they had their games. They still have their games. Why did they go up, do you think?
Because the games are better.
Okay.
Like the players are better. I asked this question, and not as a gotcha thing, but really almost not knowing. But I think I know the answer. In what world without NIL does Indiana win the national championship in football?
Doesn't happen.
They were not competitive before. Now, you could argue, okay, they would have won the championship with Curt Cignetti no matter what. Maybe that's true. I don't know that it is. But it's made more teams competitive. It has brought us closer to the idea of parity, which everybody said they wanted. Mm-hmm. And now, you know who doesn't like it? Alabama doesn't like it. Because Saban couldn't stack his roster 3 deep in all SEC talent. Those guys are more valuable elsewhere. So they're still getting the best, maybe among the best starters, but they don't have the best second and third string that used to be a given. And that's what this does. It spreads talent around. It doesn't concentrate it. And, you know, look, I think that's a normal principle of economics, because you could say, look, if money was the factor that people say it was, then Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney, and Curt Cignetti would all be on the same staff. Like, somebody would pay them an astronomical amount of money to all be on the same staff, but they want to be head coaches. You know, nobody's going to have the 4 best quarterbacks on one team because 3 of them want to play, and they're not going to sit behind number 1. It spreads talent around where it's more valuable.
Do you think the coach salaries will go? Will there'll be a correction that they'll say, like, wait a minute, instead of paying $14 million for this guy, let's pay another guy $4 million and put $10 more million into the roster?
Maybe. I think what is more likely to happen is you'll see the money go where the value is, and there's still a tremendous amount of value in a great head coach, but there's not the same kind of value like before, when the players were a zero on the line item on the balance sheet. You could take that money and you could increase the size of your staff. You can get analytics staff. You could spend indiscriminately, really. Now, what they're going to start doing is saying, look, we don't need all these people. We need to concentrate what we're doing in support of the players on the field. So we've got to invest to get the best players on the field, and then we've got to have the what's necessary around them to put them in the best position to operate at a high level and win. So you're not going to have as many administrators. You're going to see contraction there. You know, how many athletic directors do these schools really need? Like, they're like bank vice presidents.
Yeah.
And
associate ADs.
Yeah, and no disrespect to all of them. I mean, they do great, but you know, that's one of the reasons they don't want to see this is they're like, that threatens my job.
Yeah.
And you know, like, and I'm sensitive to that, but I want to see the money go where the value is, and that's to the players. But the coaches, their coaching staffs may not be as big. You know, we'll see that going forward. But who knows, as the money keeps going up, and it is, like, this isn't going down. And, you know, they're going to, you know, this is a little off topic, but how long ago was it? 12 years ago? All the administrators were telling us, can't have a playoff. It's impossible. Yeah. Can't do it. Like, we got the bowl system. You know, we can tell you who the 2 best teams are, and we'll put them in a BCS championship game. We'll give you the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, and we'll put patches on the players' uniforms. But now we got a problem with it. Like, put a big old Tostitos logo on the players, and they don't get anything out of it. When the bowl game's getting something out of it, that was okay. But now we put whatever you were saying is on the Kansas jerseys. Oh, yeah. Well, we got a problem. Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
it's the same stuff.
Yeah.
But now we're going to be at 24 pretty soon.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to have a playoff bigger than the NFL. And tell me that's not for money. That's for money.
Well, what's amazing is that they waited so long on the playoffs. I mean, Death to the BCS, which was written by Jeff Passan and Dan Wetzel, you know, they talked about how, like, you know, there's so much more money out there and you're not getting it. And, you know, they finally woke up and said, okay, let's quit paying guys in goofy blazers to walk around football games and giving them $500,000. Let's make $200 million and have a playoff.
Right. And to that point in the playoff, and look, this is just my opinion.
Sometimes it's not just money, it's power.
Well, both. Yeah. But in my opinion, like, the playoff, there should only be 1 game of the college football playoff that's played in a neutral site, and that should be the championship game.
Yeah.
And can you imagine the amount of money that would go to these local economies if Indiana played their games in Bloomington on the way to the national championship, and you had Michigan playing in the Big House and Ohio State playing at the Shoe and all that stuff? And, like, what do they have booked in there? Like a soccer game or a concert? Like, come on, man.
They're still placating those guys, those bowl guys. Maybe. With that.
Yeah. And look, things aren't going to change overnight, but they are changing, and they're changing because now the players are in the game financially.
The last thing I want to ask you is the other sports getting cut.
Mm-hmm.
Does that you said you were sympathetic to like associate ADs, maybe losing? Are you where do you sit on the fact that they're funneling more money to football and basketball, but the girls' tennis team's gone, the softball
I don't
teams.
see that happening. We've seen like Stanford cut a few sports. I didn't know they had synchronized swimming. Honestly, I didn't know they had it. But when I was in school, and this is a long time ago, I graduated 40 years ago. Schools had like 14 or 16 sports. Now they got 30.
Yeah.
And, Duke, I think where I went to school is like 27. That's twice the size of the athletic department. So how many sports are enough? That's what I would ask. And each school has to determine that. If the conference wants to have a rule, you have to have at least 16. Like, I don't think the SEC schools have more than 16 or 18 sports. And, does everybody need an equestrian team, or like where's the limit to this? It's what everybody wants. And what winds up happening, like a few years ago, Cal tried to cut their baseball team, and their fan base revolted, and they raised the money and they kept it. So it's really not that big of a deal. And if one school doesn't want to have, like, not every school plays lacrosse. So what are we going to do? Say you're bad actors because you don't play lacrosse?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the answer to all this stuff. But each school, they're going to have the sports that benefit their school. And what most people don't understand is most athletes that play non-revenue sports pay their own way.
Yeah.
That's changing a little bit. Now you can give a scholarship to anybody on any roster that you have. You have a roster limit, but you can't. There's no limit on the scholarships you can give, and that's been a great benefit to non-revenue sports athletes. It used to be only 12.5 baseball players could get a scholarship, and now all of them. The 40-man roster can have a scholarship now. So they're not necessarily paying those guys. They might pay the top pitcher or something, but now everybody has access to a scholarship. That's a huge benefit to these athletes, and it's a positive. And I always thought that was an area of attack for antitrust lawyers. Like, you're telling players they can't have a scholarship? There are 5 scholarships, and for what was it, for wrestling or whatever it was, and 11 scholarships for lacrosse, and but the rest of the roster is paying their own way. So really, it's a net positive for the school, and that's why they did that. That's why they had that, because all these country club sports, the athletes were paying their own way.
Yeah, that's amazing. Jay, we're always smarter for having talked to you. I really appreciate the time. Have fun out here, and best of luck to you in the tournament.
Thank you. It's always a blast. Great being with you.
Welcome back here in the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB as we're broadcasting live at the American Century Championships in beautiful Lake Tahoe. You can see all the action on NBC and Peacock. Great event here in Tahoe. It's brought to you by our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Our coverage is brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things pavement. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com. While this is going on, Big 12 Media Days are going on. Of course, we're everywhere. Todd Lebo is there at Big 12 Media Days. His coverage of the Big 12 Football Media Day is brought to you by our friends at the Kansas Lottery. Next Gen Beef and Plaza Aesthetics and Wellness. Todd, I understand you've got Lance Leipold. Take it away, Todd.
That's right, Sarin. We've got the Jayhawks down here. We've got Wildcats as well. But let's talk some Kansas Jayhawks football here with the head coach of the Kansas Jayhawks. Coach, it's early. You haven't done a lot of these yet, but you're going to have 1,000 interviews today, maybe?
It could be countless. I don't know. But it's always great to be back here. It gets us in a time where, the season's right around the corner. You get the energy. The guys are excited. It's a great experience for our student athletes. And, there's a lot of good things happening. And, we spend a lot of time, Todd, in college football talking about a lot of the things that aren't maybe as perfect as we'd like. But there's still a lot of great things about this game and what we do. And today's a great day for that.
Yeah, get to talk about football and some issues and things like that. We'll get into a few of those things as we go here. I do want to start with this. This is the first time in, 400 years that Jalen Daniels hasn't been at Big 12 Media Days.
I know. We got on the plane. It was like a little bit lonely, and it's like said that he hasn't been here, and it's different for us. And when you're fortunate to have somebody like him and what he did for our program and being able to bring him that many times was special. But, we got a whole new crew this time and kind of showing them the way.
And you didn't bring a quarterback because you haven't probably exactly picked what's going to happen at quarterback yet. What do you like about your options, and kind of how will the whole process go as you work towards that?
Well, first of all, and I talked to both quarterbacks about that, and I'll probably say that a lot today. The question is going to get asked many times about that situation, but I didn't want the whole day just to be those two guys talking about each other and doing it. I didn't think it was fair to them or fair to the program. Should have maybe brought both of them. But at the same time, both the thing, I don't know if everyone truly understands, these are two quality guys that are highly respected in the locker room, and they have great leadership ability. They're very both capable athletes of leading our offense and our football team. And I know Andy Koltnicki's excited about what they bring each and every day.
So how will the process go? I mean, listen, you make choices at every position every week, but we all talk about quarterback because that's the quarterback's the quarterback. That's the way it goes. When do you want to know? When do you want to have it figured out? I mean, what's ideal?
When it shows itself to be that way. And the thing you don't want it to be, Todd, is you don't want it to be like every day they feel like their job's on the line, but you want it to be competitive. Of course, with Andy's background and what he does with personnel, I think there's a high probability that both quarterbacks are going to play in games in every game this year together, and there'll be different packages that they'll be utilized. But once one truly separates himself as the guy that's going to be best for this football team, we'll make an announcement on the starter. But I've said this before, there's not a huge timeline. I think we have a really good practice model that allows both guys to get repetitions. Andy and I talked yesterday. Both guys got about 320 reps in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of work. It's a lot of times for them to do. But, again, you got to get the right people working with one another.
We're talking to Lance Leipold, head coach of the Kansas Jayhawks down here at the Star of Frisco, Big 12 Football Media Days. And you've been at Kansas for long enough now that there's a lot of weird things happening. You got stadium stuff going back and forth. Right now, when you look at the stadium, what's it look like? You're going to have more people than maybe people thought this year. You're going to have some people on the east side, and you're still a year away from having it all the way done. But what's it looking like?
Well, like you said, I can't believe it's year 6 already, 6th season. It's a little over 5 years. But time has flown, and it's been so enjoyable. But it's been ever-changing, really, since we arrived on campus in the landscape of college football. And also then when you look out, when I look out the window of my office and you see the transformation of the stadium and the project and the commitment, it is exciting. And when I look out my window to the east side, what you see is a lower bowl that is completed as far as concrete things, and seats will be going in soon. we're ahead of schedule, that the complete lighting system was put in. At first, I was told that we are going to play with the old lights on that side. The frame for the upper deck is done, and they keep working. We have new end zone bleachers they're going to be put in as well. That is different than what we had before. And I think what people will see is the closeness again, and the slope of the stadium. All those are going to make it a really intimate and great environment.
Now, you don't want to fast forward through this year, but how excited are you to see it all done?
Yeah, it'll be really exciting. It will be to see it, and you look at it and how we've had to do it, and you look at it whether it be the new Chiefs Stadium that's on the horizon or the new Royal Stadium that's on the horizon, and you look at the time frame that the announcement to completion, and you look at any other, for us to get this done in the time frame that we have is truly remarkable, and a credit to Travis
trying to
Goff.
play football.
Yeah, and for Travis Goff and our administration, Chancellor Girard, and all these people to make it happen is truly special.
We're talking to Lance Leipold. Let's talk a little bit about some of the issues running around college football. We seem to talk about these a lot. It used to be realignment, blah, blah, blah. Now it's transfer portal, calendars, all those things. Are we getting closer to having it's never going to be perfect. Are we getting closer to having some stability as far as figuring out how to keep more players on your roster without getting in bidding wars and all these kind of things, the calendar, when you can leave and all those things? Are we on the right path right now?
I think so. You're always concerned that every time something happens, somebody else is working the next
angle.
Yes, thank you.
All right, I'll say angle.
You said I was going to say it, but an angle to try to create advantages, and that's human nature, whatever, business related, whatever. But I think we're getting better, and one of those steps was one portal window. Mm-hmm. I don't think coaches in today's we're for players' compensation. We are. We're looking, but again, stability, and you look at, if you emulate professional sports, our model is still a ways off in some different areas. But with the one portal window, spring was so much different. And I've talked to some other coaches, because you felt so much more stable that you had your roster.
Yeah.
And you're not sitting there worrying about, is this guy half in or half out? If he's not liking where it's landing in reps and opportunities and what the future is he going to bail, and then you're starting over and all those things. So I think there's and honestly, I think the players were happier. I think they're more settled in mentally about where they're at and really truly being where their feet are.
I remember talking to a lot of players before at these events. There would be times people would reach out to them while they're on a team. Is there more of that, less of that happening now?
I'm not sure. There's a lot of ways to get to people now, because when you're dealing with agents, they're representing multiple people on multiple teams. So there's also a client list and things like that. We try to focus on our guys and what we can do the best and address our needs as we go. We still want to be a program that develops the players on the roster. We are large in the portal this year, but that was really an effect, Todd, because we worked hard to keep our roster the 2 previous years, where Clemson and us had the fewest guys enter the portal. When you have 2 senior classes of over 30,
then they're going to be gone.
Yeah, then you've got some gaps in experience and other things that you have to fill in, and that forced us in that portal a little bit more. But I do think there's hopefully some stabilizing if we can get to a point of, if they reevaluate the transfer of one free transfer and then sitting after that's on the table, things like that, we can try to get to a point where I think everyone will be in a better spot.
And as far as just the actual running of that side of the football program, knowing who's in, who's out, the NIL, the collectives, the money and stuff like that. Have you guys gotten better at that? I mean, because it's been learning on the job.
It is. It changes daily. I think we learn. You learn through the good. You learn through the not so good sometimes when you learn a lesson of something that happens along the way. But Rob Ianello's our general manager, does an excellent job of communication with agents and letting things go. I think we've learned through the negotiation what we're trying to do best for Kansas football, Kansas athletics, and the student athlete at the same time.
So, you coach football, but you have to know who's on your team. How involved at all are you in any of that part that your GM does?
As far I'm involved with who's on the board. Like when we're looking at, we have constant roster evaluations of where we're at with high school players versus what we think we might need as the season evolves with portal and older players and things like that. When the portal opens, it's fast and furious and names are coming. I'm involved there. I have really good knowledge of ballpark stuff that we're doing, but I don't get totally. I know what our budget, so to speak, is, and how much we're doing, and we continually work to improve that. But when it gets to some of those things, I really let Rob. He'll give me a parameter of where we think it's at. But do I know all the final numbers? I really don't want to know.
Right.
Honestly, because I want to coach the team, and I don't want to. You don't want
coach
to
football.
Yeah, and we truly want to put the best players on there. We lost a good player, that honestly, he wasn't happy because he knew he wasn't compensated as well as others on the team the year before, but yet he started and played. So at the same time,
it used to be playing time was the only thing that mattered.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the player that was being paid maybe the most at that position barely played. We missed. The player was injured. There were some other things that happened. Didn't pick things up fast enough. And so we didn't play the player that was getting the most. We played the best player, and that's what we still need to do in this profession. And we don't want to get caught up and say, well, we've got this money tied into this guy, we got to play him.
That's one of the things that concerned me a few years ago when this first started, because I know players talk. I mean, listen, in the NFL and Major League Baseball, the salaries are out there. People know, and they know this guy's no good, whatever. And I thought there would be times, and I guess your job is to make sure that doesn't affect your team, that players would talk and they said, well, this guy's no good. But have you, what is your rule? Can players come to you and complain about it, or do they have to go to the GM? What do you do?
Well, if I'm understanding what you're saying, first of all, you try to keep confidentiality, stay within your own business.
But they talk.
But we know
yes,
that doesn't always happen. And then so we try to move along with that the best. If there's something that, again, it's like any of us. Once we, we're still trying to teach life lessons. And that when you get a contract, you have some security, but you've also agreed to those terms.
You've honored it.
And then and then with that, you've agreed that it was a 2-person negotiation. You can't worry about person C because he had his own. And trying to get people to understand that until the next window, that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
And so we try to keep it there. We haven't had a lot of issues with that, but sometimes again, locker rooms can get divided and things, and you really try to work on that, and that's where your culture really takes a hold.
And that's an important part now, even more important than ever, probably, to keep your culture together that way. We're talking to Lance Leipold, head coach of Kansas at Big 12 Football Media Days. Okay, let's talk about the league right now. The league's changed since you got it up. There's different teams. It's just you've been here so long that the league has totally changed.
Somebody told me the other day I'm already on the upper end of this.
Of the tenure.
I'm like, how did that happen?
Well, you know what happened? You didn't get fired.
Right.
That's the best way to keep it going right there, right? So what do you think about what we have right now in this league? I know there's a lot of talk yesterday. It's time to get 2 bids in the playoff and all those kind of things. So where are we? What do you think about the strength of this league right now?
Yeah, again, I think our strength of the league competitively is as good as it's been. I think we're in a spot where we've been able to maintain the balance. Everyone knows that in this conference, anybody can beat anyone almost on any given day. Now, Texas Tech and BYU might have, separated themselves a little bit last year, and they have excellent programs. But everyone, as we can see, can compete with one another, and that makes it exciting. Sometimes, though, you're beating each other up, and it's kind of hurting. And again, there's so much in the perception and things like that. I think I saw something yesterday where Joey McGuire said, for us to be, we got to win a playoff game. We got to get somewhere along the line.
Validated or something, yeah.
Yeah, so we can, get the 2 bids and all those things, whether it's through expansion or whatever. We've got to get there. But again, I know that this is an excellent football conference and will continue to be so.
You mentioned Joey McGuire, a lot of conversation about Tech down here yesterday and the situation they went through. I don't want to ask you about specifically that, but I do want to ask you about the message that you guys, I know, have been giving for decades as a head coach about gambling.
Yeah.
This is even a better example now, right, to give these guys and make it very plain to them. How has that message changed over the years?
Yeah, you continue to talk about decisions that you're making and the consequences that come across it. It's a tough situation for Joey and Texas Tech because it didn't happen on their campus. And then again, when we're coaches, mentors, teachers to these young men, we're also there to support them. And again, then we get into how do we justify what offenses what's the tiers of this, and to support and still not, dash someone's hopes and dreams on where it's at. And that was a tough situation. But again, we in our program continue to talk about your choices and what you're doing and what you need to do moving forward. And those things can be costly if you don't make the right ones. And again, each and every day as coaches, you pray that our guys are making those correct decisions.
The rumor is that you guys take it one game at a time. Is that true?
That is the goal.
But I want to ask you, got Missouri coming to campus, okay? And it's a Friday night, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be alive for sure. Yeah. That should be a lot of fun. What did you like? What did you learn about the rivalry getting renewed last year down there?
Of a lot of history there through a lot of things and even when I got the job before Missouri came back on the schedule, it was talking. We talk about the Kansas State rivalry, but everybody talked even more so about the Missouri rivalry and how the two schools don't care for each other and whatnot. So
did you feel that down there?
What's that?
You feel it down there last year?
Oh yeah. And there was a good environment there. We played hard, had some chances. Excuse me, and we went through that too early in the morning for this not to be going on me, but it'll be intense, and to be on Fox on a network television primetime on a Friday night. Yes, we can get into the Friday night scenarios and all that, but an opportunity for our program to play on that stage in that environment on a rival was a great opportunity. And of course, with the game in London the next week, we just thought it was too good of a scheduling opportunity to pass, and it should be an electric time there.
And I will ask you a little bit about K-State, because you were good friends with Chris Kleiman. He said this was not for him anymore. Colin Klein is back in. You've coached against him a little bit. Yep. Where's that rivalry standing right now?
It's still going to be intense. We have to do a better job making it the rivalry that balances out, and we've let some opportunities slip, as we know. Colin's hired a great staff. He brings in great energy. I still communicate with Chris on a fairly regular basis. Just text with him right before the 4th. He seems to be doing well. But great respect. One of the things is, I guess I'm one of those is when people do things right and they're good people, you still have to, there's other relationships in this besides just rivalry or what people want you to dislike people because they wear a different colored jersey. I just have respect for people that do things right and are good people. And I think Colin's just like Chris in that regard.
And Chris didn't really want to do this much anymore. Kind of didn't like maybe the way the whole thing was going.
Yep.
You still like it enough?
Yeah, it's challenging at times, but I do. It's we have to adapt in this, and I feel good, and I'm not getting any younger, as they say, but I'm feeling good about things, and like I say, the things that we talked about, the projects, the changing. We have unfinished business of what we came here to do at Kansas. We've made we made some good strides there early, and then it has plateaued. We haven't won enough close football games, and it's my responsibility and our staff's responsibility to get that thing back over the hump so our fans can be proud of what we're doing.
Well, that starts with fall camp soon enough. You'll be out there practicing, and we'll be having the games right here on Sports Radio 810. Thanks for your time, Coach. Enjoy the day down here. Get some tea, get some stuff going, get that voice going for the rest of the day.
Thanks.
That is Lance Leipold, head coach of the Kansas Jayhawks, and they've got a fun season coming up. A lot of quarterback issues kind of going around. Interesting, fun schedule, but it should be a good time, and we will be following them all along the way. Back to you, Sarin.
All right, thank you very much, Todd. Todd Lebo down covering the Big 12 Media Day. Our coverage of Big 12 Football Media Day is brought to you by Next Gen Beef, Plaza Aesthetics and Wellness, and Kansas Lottery. Nice work from Todd. We'll bring you Colin Klein coming up here probably in the next couple of days. We'll hear from Colin Klein, the head coach of the K-State Wildcats. We'll take a break. We're at the American Century Championships here in Lake Tahoe. Our coverage in Tahoe brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete.
All right, our Twin Peaks end of the hour answer. How many Royals have had 2 5-hit games in the same season?
2 5-hit games in the same season. Well, Tyler Tolbert and maybe George Brett. I'm guessing maybe Seitzer, Joe Randa. They had some big hit days, but I'll say 2, just him and George.
Actually 5. Tolbert joins the group that included Billy Butler back in 2013, Johnny Damon in 2000, Joe Randa, you got that one right, 1999, and Al Cowens during his MVP runner-up season in 77.
Wow, that's more than I thought.
Same.
Were you surprised?
Yes, I thought there'd be 3. And I thought Brett would be one of them.
Who do you think they would be?
I thought Brett would be one of them, and then there'd be somebody else.
And so it's Tolbert, Butler, Cowens,
Damon, and Randa.
All those make sense, except for Tyler Tolbert.
Right.
That one, which one of these is not like the others, like we just talked about earlier about, them all being the same, like the company you keep tells you how important the stat is.
Yeah.
That one's a pretty good stat.
Yeah, and even the name that most people don't recognize, people of younger age, maybe not recognize Al Cowens, was a year in which he finished second to Rod Crew in the MVP voting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Al Cowens had a
388.
monster season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had a monster season for the Royals. Absolutely. Pretty good hour. Our thanks, Jay Billis, joining us here from the American Century Championship. Lance Leipold down with Todd Lebo. We'll have more from Big 12 Media Days as the next couple of days roll on. We're going to talk with Tim Grunhard, maybe Taylor Twellman. We're trying to get him linked up with us here at some point. He's at the American Century Championships. It is on NBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the American Century Championships. It's brought to you. Our coverage is brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things pavement. Go online to GannAsphalt.com.
All right, how many players from Kent State were named first-team All-Pro more than once? Brought to you by La Feta Delicatessen.
player, coach, pain in the ass. He's done it all on the gridiron from South Bend to Arrowhead. From football on the radio, back to football, then more radio, then a little more football, and now radio again. It's Chiefs Hall of Famer Tim Grunhard on the program.
Brought to you by The Plumbing Pro. When you really need a plumber, the one to know is The Plumbing Pro. Visit them online at theplumbingpro.com.
Second half of the program begins right now. Tim Grunhard joins us here in the program. I'm live at the American Century Championships in Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Our coverage brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things pavement. Your parking lot's the first impression customers get. Make it a great one with Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com. Tim, my friend, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to hear you guys are back in Lake Tahoe with the American Century. We've been doing that for many, many years. I know it's a great event. It's great publicity for 810 WHB, and I know you hustle around and do a lot of great interviews. So, yeah, I was excited to listen. I heard Jay Billis coming in. That was a great interview, and I'm looking forward to some of the other people. One of the things I was looking at the press release, and Travis Kelce's name is still on there. I don't think he's coming.
He's not coming.
Yeah.
In fact, we just had somebody from the tournament say they got a call from a television network, I'll just say, and said, yeah, I just got asked if I could line up Travis Kelce for him. And he just shrugged his shoulders like, yeah, he's not here.
No, he's not there.
Yeah, he's on his honeymoon. So, no, that's not going to happen. But he's usually here. His brother Jason's here. I can tell you that. In fact, there's a chance we're stalking him right now over on the putting green. There's a chance he'll sit down and join us, Tim.
Is the NDA over now?
I don't know how that works.
I don't either. I talked to one guy that was at the wedding a couple of days ago. He said the people watching was unbelievable. Everybody from Brad Pitt on the dance floor just letting his hair down to, Tom Hanks and obviously Adam Sandler and he said, that we were looking at the celebrities on the Hollywood side in awe, and he said the celebrities on the Hollywood side were looking at the Chiefs in awe. So I said that was kind of an interesting dynamic, but I heard everything went off well, and the security was unbelievable as they blocked off 2 blocks around Madison Square Garden on the 4th of July weekend, which was quite the task. But he said, you had to obviously get picked up by a car, and that car went through 3 different levels of security just to get into Madison Square Garden, and then you had to have a kind of one of those little code deals, the QR codes, just to get past, and then you had your ID. It was very, very high security to get into the wedding, and said it was great. Had a great time. Travis and Taylor went around and talked to everybody, and it's very accessible, which I thought there's no way that she's going to be, bouncing around to 1,000 people, but she was, and all went off with a bang. And congratulations to those two.
Yeah. It's come and gone now.
Yep.
Now, what will so many people focus on now that it's over?
Yeah, I know. I don't know if you've been paying attention to social media. The pictures that have been coming out, it looks like Drew Tranquil's wife won the best dressed, which was interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go.
Okay.
And
so I have not been paying attention to that.
Well, I really haven't either, to be brutally honest with you. My wife has been. So she'll say, did you see this? Did you see that? Did you see this? And I was really surprised that she was so into it. She bought in. She's in hook, line, and sinker, following all the wedding stuff. And, I guess that's kind of the gal thing to do, it's kind of like she's also been the person that's got up early to watch the royal weddings over the years. So, I guess that this is the closest thing we've had to a royal wedding, basically with somebody we kind of know. We've been exposed to with Travis Kelce, and then Taylor Swift being maybe the number one performing artist in the country, maybe the world. So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they are America's first couple.
There you go, first couple. Lot.
You know, I mean, don't you think there's more attention paid to them than any other couple out there
right now? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, and it really. I mean, Travis is our guy. Love Travis. Known Travis for a very, very long time. Had a somewhat relationship with him. Been able to, you know, talk and converse, and you know, had been at different events with him. But I think it's all Taylor Swift, to be brutally honest with you. If Taylor Swift would have married, you know, some dude off the street, that there would have been probably just as much buzz about it. But Travis is our guy, and we're excited for him. And you know, he's got his honeymoon, and then he's got to get back to work. That'll be interesting.
Do you worry that he's not going to be in shape?
I've worried about him over the last couple of years for a lot of different reasons. Number one, you know, I thought that maybe he was getting a little bit long in the tooth, and you know, he was slowing down, and he slowed down a little bit. But you know, every year you think, okay, this is a year he's going to retire, and he doesn't. In fact, I had a conversation with him, and about a couple of weeks ago, and I saw him on at an event, and he said, "Hey, man, congratulations on the wedding." And he said, "Yeah, it's great. We're looking forward to it." And I said, "Well, another year." He goes, "Yeah, I'm playing until the wheels fall off." So there you go. He's going to continue to play until the wheels fall off, proverbially fall off. So we'll see when that happens, or if that happens. But yeah, I am worried about it, because when you're not in shape, and it's hard. I mean, listen, you know, going back to, you know, I got married in the off season, so I didn't have all the stuff that you have to do for a wedding, as you know, and just about anybody who's been involved with a wedding, there's a lot of things you have to do. It's not like you just show up. And I'm sure for this wedding, it wasn't like just showing up. So you're very busy going through all the logistics and all the planning and everything else that goes into a wedding. And then you go right on your honeymoon, and then basically got about a week or two to get yourself kind of your mind right to go and play football, which is a very, very difficult thing to do. It's hard to get your mind right when you all of a sudden, you know, you're coming off the beach in the Bahamas, wherever they're at, and you're going up to St. Joe and going to practice and having to focus in on all the little things that you have to do to be great at football and to stay healthy. Because that's the main thing that worries me is, you know, I think he knows what he's doing. He knows the playbook. He knows how to perform. He's been in these situations many times. But the older you get, the harder it is to get yourself in shape. And the harder, if you're not in shape, that's when you find yourself in situations where you have injuries. So knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't happen. But that's what scares me. Absolutely.
Would you agree that, you know, the job of, you know, when they put the roster together, it's to get the best players. They got to figure out who's going to be good, who's going to get better, who's going to get worse, right? That's part of the job, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so here's my question: when are they? When does it fall off a cliff for Travis Kelce athletically?
Well, I think he's looking at the cliff. I think he's walked up to the edge.
I mean, do you think Bill Belichick and the Patriots would have paid him the money that the Chiefs are paying him this year at this age?
Bill Belichick and the Patriots, no, because that's not their style. Whether you like it or not, that's just not the way they do business. So no, I don't. But I think there was a lot of other teams that would still have given him the kind of contract the Chiefs gave him, just for the fact that.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I think there's teams out there that if the Chiefs would have cut him, they would have signed him for the same kind of money right away. A week later, for guys that have experience, you know, he's still fairly productive. I mean, he's not the Travis Kelce that was 10 years ago. He wasn't the Travis Kelce that was during the Super Bowl runs, but he's still one of the top 10 tight ends in the league at where he's at right now.
I don't doubt. I mean, his contract's a little complicated because of some, you know, deferred money and everything, but it's basically a 1 year, $12 million deal. I think there might have been somebody give him $12 million, but I think they'd have been more of a team that was like the Panthers, you know, a team that okay, you know, we're close. We got a good young nucleus. We need a veteran guy to come in here, and then whether or not it was good enough to add up to being a Super Bowl contender, I don't know. But I just think I think the Chiefs are in dangerous territory here with Travis Kelce, and I know what everybody wants as we sit here right now, and he hasn't played poorly. everybody wants Travis Kelce back. But if he steps out on that field and he can't do it anymore and he becomes a 450-yard tight end, or if he's hurt and got an injury going all along, dragging a leg around and he's not productive, everybody is going to bitch. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. And that's one of the things I know I've said this before, and it's kind of similar with what Lou Holtz used to say to us all the time. And it was kind of with practice and getting ready to play games, and you can equate this to your career. And really everybody can equate this to their careers. You miss one practice, your performance, you know it. If you miss two practices, your performance will show that the coach knows it. You and the coach will know it. If you miss three practices during a week, obviously, everybody will know it. And he told me, I'll never forget, I used to call him and just ask for advice, and I did towards the end of my career. And I said, hey, I feel like I'm slowing down a little bit. He said, listen, you got to get out when you know it, not when the coach knows it, and especially not when everybody knows it. And I think Travis is in danger of getting out when everybody knows it. I think he probably knows it. The coach probably is thinking it, maybe hasn't verbalized it. And I don't think everybody knows it. But to your point, if he goes out there and he's dragging a leg around and he only has 400 yards receiving and plays in 8 games and it's costing the Chiefs $12 million, everybody will know it. And you just don't want to. Not that his career and not that his legend will ever be stained ever in Kansas City, but you kind of want to go out on your terms, not when everybody knows it. And I'm hoping that that's the decision he makes eventually. We've doubted him. Listen, Soren, you and I have had this conversation over the last 4 years. It's this the last year for Travis Kelce, and I probably said at least two, maybe 3 out of those 4 years that, yeah, this has got to be it. This is the last year. And he keeps coming back. And I just talked to him a couple weeks ago, and he said, hey, I'm going to play till the wheels fall off. So that's what he's going to do. And I'm hoping for his sake that he can go out on good terms with himself. I'm not worried about Kansas City. I'm not worried about Kansas City. I'm not worried about the fans. Fans are always going to love Travis Kelce. And, the Chiefs organization are always going to put Travis Kelce up on, he's on the Mount Rushmore of the Kansas City Chiefs. They're always going to love Travis Kelce, but Travis Kelce's got to love Travis Kelce. And if you get to the point where you just can't do it, the crazy thing is I could sit here right now, and in my mind, I think I could still block back and block a 3-technique tackle on a counter or power and cut him off and have that guard get around and execute the block and play. There's not a rat's ass's chance I could do that. But my mind thinks I can. My body can't do it. And that's the danger you get into. The older you get, is your mind still is telling you could do it. You could still see yourself doing it. You could still, imagine and prepare the way that you think that you have to in order to be successful in the job you're trying to do or execute on the field. But your body just can't do it, and that's what scares me about it. I want him to go out when he feels that, you know what, Travis, look in the mirror, job well done, and not man, I probably should have got out of here late, year before or something. I just don't want that to happen to him.
I mean, I just think the Chiefs aren't one of the bigger analytics teams. I mean, the analytics tell you he's on borrowed time, and so you shouldn't be putting this kind of money into him.
The eye test tells us that he's on borrowed time. Would you agree with that? I mean, it does.
Well, I think it's dangerous because, yes, 2 years ago he was not in as good a shape and he didn't have a very good season. Last year, got in better shape, had a pretty good season. But, you get a guy headed into listen, maybe I'm wrong, and it's the business side. It's the Mark Donovans of the world that are like, look, he's getting married. Like, they're going to be looking for Taylor Swift in the stands. Like, maybe having Taylor Swift at your games is worth so much money in merchandising and everything else that comes that it's like, whatever it takes, keep him. We'll do the analytic thing with somebody else, and I think there are players in franchise histories, like the Royals clearly seem to have looked at Salvador Perez and said, doesn't matter how good he is, he's our guy and he's going to be with us to the end. And Travis Kelce would certainly warrant being one of those guys if you're going to have that mindset. I just wouldn't have that mindset if I were running a football team. My mindset would be to win to make the right decision to help us win every single time.
It happens to us all. Father Time waits for no man. And, George Brett, towards the end of his career, you remember, I mean, gosh, there was not a player that I loved more to watch play baseball than George Brett. Even when I didn't live in Kansas City, just loved his hustle, his grit, his toughness, his enthusiasm. His love of the game, just the way he carried himself on the field. But, it happens to us all. And towards the end, you're like, ooh, that's not quite the George Brett that I remember. Or, ooh, that's not quite the Travis Kelce I remember. Ooh, that's not quite the Tim Grunhard I remember.
Mike Schmidt, famously in the middle of his in '88 or '89, I guess he was like in June. It's like I'm done, and he just quit. Boom, right away. But that's so rare. Guys never want to just say, I can try one more time. I can't think of another person who was of that level who just went, nope, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
Yeah, it is hard to do. All right, Tim, I'm going to have you take a quick break. We've been chasing Taylor Twellman from ESPN, great soccer analyst, with us here in the program. He's going to sit down, and we're going to talk a little bit about the World Cup as Taylor playing in the American Century Championship. Of course, our coverage is brought to you by our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Taylor, thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
You didn't bring any pictures for me? That's just a Van Pelt thing? No drawings?
Oh, boy. I'll tell you one thing. Crayola. I should have stock in Crayola for it.
Yeah. That's pretty popular.
It is.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Listen, obviously it didn't go the way we wanted the last time. First of all, why did it go so bad? Where do you put the blame? Bad games, bad matches. All
they
sports,
happen,
they happen.
absolutely. I just think I think the moment was too big, and I think they came out like 5 minutes into the game. It felt weird. The other games, there was an energy, a purpose to the United States. They were on the front foot. This one just felt a little sluggish and dull and a little heavy-footed, and touches weren't clean. Is
that a sign of the moment being too big, a lack of experience?
You're not going to give me lack of experience, though, because those guys are on that field. They're playing in Serie A, Bundesliga. They're playing in the Premier League.
Is it different wearing the USA and having the pressure where people actually went into this match, even though Belgium's raked higher? They were a slight betting favorite, and which may have been just all the American.
Well, I think it comes down to the pressure of everyone wanting the U.S. men to rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
That's what it is. We're used to the women rising and being the barometer of success, and the men are just so desperate. They're just so desperate to get there, and they want to get there. I think the Balogun news 24 hours threw a huge wrinkle into it because it really motivated Belgium, and you can go back and watch the goal celebrations of those players. They wanted to remind the American fan base that there was too much talking and all of that. So, it's a tough one. You can lose honorably and lose a game 2-1, and it happens, but losing in the manner that they did, that's tough.
Yeah, that was what made it so disappointing. Like a tough, we felt like certainly a win keeps the massive amount of momentum that the U.S. Soccer program had going for it, but even like a tough 2-1, well-fought loss to Belgium where we're on the edge of our seat and, at the end we're trying for one more, corner in there and all that, we would have been like, okay, they went down valiantly. A lot of people are acting like this took away any and all momentum that was created with their great play in the pool play. Do you agree with that?
I mean, listen, it's the round of 16 and we lost, right? So no matter what, the general public has every right to feel how they want to feel because they wanted a quarterfinal berth against Spain. I understand that, but you also have to really look at the nuance and look into it. The win against Paraguay was a different style win. The United States men normally don't win and play a game that way. Now, you could ask the question, why didn't they have other games like that? But they beat Australia in a difficult game, and they won that game. So does it kill all the momentum? I'm always a glass half full kind of guy, even though I'm very real about it. I don't think it helps the momentum.
Right.
Right? So, I'm in between both answers of, I don't know if it did, but I sure know it didn't help.
Yeah. I mean, because there's, I hear some people celebrate how well they played in pool play, but they were the highest ranked team in their pool.
I'm glad you just phrased it that way, because anyone that was really looking at it, we all thought the United States should win the group. So, okay.
Yeah.
it's the
schedule driven
yes,
would be the term you use in another
style.
sport.
I would say this: the style of the win against Paraguay is the reason why everyone was kind of putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people say that if they get by Belgium, they're gonna have to play a totally different style. They want to play on the front foot. They want to attack. They high press. They try to get the ball back early. But against Spain would make them pay and would destroy them. And I wondered aloud before we saw what happened in Belgium. Is this a tactical move that, like, listen, what we can accomplish here is get to the 8. Forget about what happens after that.
My man.
If we run into a buzzsaw against Spain, but let's get to the 8, and this style of play was their style of play to try to get there. Do you?
No doubt. I completely agree with that statement. That's why I said before the tournament started, quarterfinals or bust.
Yeah.
To be in the final 8 of the world is pretty good.
Yeah.
And I know it's anti-American to say that because every American listening to this is like, what are you talking about? We try to win everything. I'm not saying we didn't. The United States men aren't trying to win.
Yeah.
But when you look at the history of the World Cup winners on the men's side, how many teams have won? Exactly my point. So It's like, wait a minute, hang on here. You know what I mean? So, but at home, that environment, that crowd, with the way you played in the group stage, yeah, you have to get to the quarterfinal.
What happens with the coach?
It's an interesting one. I think a lot is up to him. I don't think, though, he should deflect. I don't think he shouldn't get any blame.
Right.
Because he did coach the worst loss in U.S. Men World Cup history, the most lopsided loss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, and the tactics seem to be he got
But on
completely
the other
outclassed
hand,
to
I
start.
would love to see him do a full 3 years in World Cup qualifying and see what they look like. I don't know if he's an international manager in the sense that I think at the club level he likes to be busy and doing things with the players every single day. So that's more of a Pochettino question. I don't know that answer. Getting to know him, meeting him, speaking with him, he seems like he likes that a little bit more than the international level, but this World Cup might have changed his mind. That loss might have changed his mind.
Yeah.
He might have a sour taste in his mouth that he's like, I want to make sure we fix this.
We're talking to ESPN's Taylor Twellman here in the program. What does the U.S. need to do?
I'm now at Apple TV, by the way.
Apple
with
TV.
MLS.
Okay.
And I've done ESPN. I'm doing the Today Show during the World Cup. So
okay.
Thank you for recognizing.
Apple TV
yes.
with the MLS.
Absolutely.
I have the package.
Of course you do. And you hit mute when you listen to me commentate games. I get
no,
it.
I do not. What does the U.S. have to do to take the next step? Like, nationally, what is there?
We need more kids. We need more kids playing at a high. Let me rephrase this. We need 3 Christian Pulisics. We need 3 Weston McKennies. We need 3 Tyler Adams. How do you do that? We got to develop more players at a higher level. And in order to do that, American youth sports is a problem. Everything is so expensive in the United States to play youth sports. It's not a soccer problem. Soccer takes the brunt of it. But basketball, baseball, gymnastics, cheer, it's a business now.
Yeah.
Private equity firms are now buying youth sports.
Yeah.
It's a business. It's not about development. So in my sport of what you're asking, the rest of the world does not do that. So how is the rest of the world doing something very inclusive where everyone is included and you're trying to develop everyone at a high rate and you pick the best of the bunch to then us doing a certain way? It's going to be difficult. And so that's a very macro level, big level conversation. But truthfully, that is the crux of the issue.
It is. I agree. And also on top of that, you talk about AAU basketball. The best of the best, they get them on the team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like soccer doesn't seem to have that. Everybody pays.
Oh, no. 29 of the 30 MLS teams, all their academy teams are free.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's not pay to play.
All right.
But you got a country this big. I want to have as many players as possible.
And the urban part, suburbia is where all soccer is played in this country. Like when you go into other countries, you see the little futsal courts and the things, and there are people playing. You go to Europe and they're playing 3-on-3, and
it's a good observation, I would say, though. But like Germany's not like some inner city team and all of that. England's not necessarily that, although England is way more inclusive with how they develop versus the United States, as is Germany. But sure, yeah. I just every team that we're trying to aspire to be, they have multiple players at each position. I don't know if we have that yet.
Do we have enough money going into USA Soccer to make the things happen that we need to, or is it underfunded for the goals that we have.
No, there's plenty of money.
Okay.
No doubt.
That's not the problem.
what MLS has done over the last, I would say, 8 to 9 years is truly remarkable. It's not a money problem. What I'm saying is money is the problem because people are doing youth sports and youth soccer based on making money versus developing, where the rest of the world is doing things to develop in order to make money. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that's the problem. We've got the equation flipped.
Well, it's the American way. If I can get $1 tomorrow, I don't care if I could get 100 next year.
Yeah, the only thing I would argue is that wasn't always the case in America.
No.
America was everyone gets a fair shot to play, and then the best will rise to the top, and we find them, and we figure it out in all sports. Now you've got 17 teams per age group with 3 clubs, and they're all paying X thousands of dollars, and you're like, none of them are going to play in college.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah. What about the economics? I'll ask you about the MLS real quick here. What about the economics of the MLS? Is small markets going to start to get pinched the way we see them get pinched in baseball for the MLS? Is it already happening, and it's just going to get worse?
No, but it's a great question. I'll say this. Soccer, that doesn't matter. Listen, Croatia has been to how many World Cup and European Championship finals? And they're the smallest populated country. So Cape Verde just did what they did. You see what I'm saying? So you can be a small market in MLS and be very successful. You could be a small market in any sport, in any country, in city, in soccer, and it's about your identity, your club identity, your ethos. How do you develop players? Where do you spend money? That has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with it. This isn't an NBA conversation, NHL conversation. It's not. It's
Lionel Messi walks right in and is MVP of the league.
But if Lionel Messi is the best player in the world, which he is, why does he only have 1 World Cup? You see what I'm saying? You can win my sport 1,000 different ways. You don't have to.
How many club championships does he have?
But he played on Barcelona, though.
Yeah. That's my point. That's the big market. Like that's my fear is that we have Barcelona, Real Madrid dominate Spain. Bayern Munich and Dortmund dominate Germany.
Dortmund doesn't. Bayern Munich's won 13 of the last 14.
Well, yeah, Bayern Munich. Dortmund's kind of number 2
yeah.
in the list. Leverkusen, I know, won a couple of years ago and got in there. But there is the big clubs, and there's also the Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, Man U. There's the 6-7 clubs that are always dominating.
But
the
you're
EPL.
Asking me right now: Is Sporting Kansas City going to be an afterthought?
Yes,
and the answer
exactly
to that is no.
No.
As long as they know exactly who they want to be, and their scouting's the right way, and their development's the right way, the answer to your question is no. But you got to be really good at what you want to do if you're not going to go spend money and go sign Rodrigo de Paul and Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible the way it is. Although LeBron and Oklahoma City have kind of debunked the big market theories right in the NBA.
San Antonio even.
Yeah, great example. But they're helped by the draft and all of that. It's a great question. Honestly, I personally think MLS would benefit from super clubs.
Yeah,
I'm actually the opposite. I think baseball thrives. Everyone that complains about the Dodgers and the Yankees, what are you talking about? It brings attention to the sport. Real Madrid and Barcelona have driven Spain for the last 60 years.
Chiefs have played in 5 Super Bowls, won 3 of them in Kansas City because there's a real cap, hard cap.
Yeah.
And so,
well, football's the worst example because there's
plenty of attention being paid to football.
No, football's the worst example because there's no threat to football outside of America. There's a threat in basketball, hockey, and soccer. In our sports outside because the rest of the world plays it.
I like that.
So you can't treat football as an entity by itself. It always will be. No one else plays football.
All right, my final 4 quickies for you.
Yeah.
Just couple words, couple sentences. Yeah. First of all, when does the U.S. win the World Cup?
Before 2050.
Before 2050?
Yes.
Okay. All right, who wins this year?
France.
Who wins the MLS Cup?
Oh, good one. I think Lewandowski for Chicago makes them really dangerous, and they may sign Leon Goretzka from Bayern Munich as well.
Okay.
I'm telling you right now, I don't know who wins MLS Cup, but beware of Chicago Fire.
Okay. And when is Sporting back in the playoffs?
Oh, man. I don't know. I'm going to say 28-29.
The 28-29 season?
Yeah.
Okay.
They've got a lot of work to do.
All right. Good to know. Taylor, hey, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it. Have a great tournament, buddy.
Great seeing you guys.
There he goes, Taylor Twellman from Apple TV. Great analysis of the sport of soccer. We'll take a break, come back, talk more with Tim Grunhard, talking Chiefs football next here in the program.
All right, the La Feta Delicatessen, end of the hour answer. How many players from Kent State were named first-team All-Pro more than once?
Well, Jack Lambert, was he one?
6 times, born on this date.
Kent State. Jason Taylor went to Akron, right? He didn't go to Kent State. Kent State.
There's another guy who played for the Steelers.
Yeah, Kent State was another guy for the Steelers from Kent State?
Yep. More recent.
Mel Blount?
More recent.
Oh. So it's not Mel Blount.
Won a Super Bowl championship, though. Played defense.
Kent State.
Was it?
Oh, yeah, James Harrison.
James Harrison. He made it twice.
Yeah.
The other guy on the offensive side.
And so
not really known as a football player in college.
Oh, Antonio Gates.
Antonio Gates.
Wow. There you go.
The only other one.
I don't even remember what the question was. I know I was just
something about Kent State.
Yeah. I said I asked
you
how
found
many.
a birthday and you found a question.
Yeah. I asked how many, that happens quite a bit actually. There was one more who made one All-Pro first team, and it was a guy you and I watched running both directions, away from us and to us. For the Browns.
Would that have been Josh Cribbs?
Josh Cribbs.
Yeah.
That's when you guys were sitting up in the end zone at Arrowhead.
And the Browns were here. This was the day that Jerome Harrison ran for 386 yards. The other thing that happened that day was that Josh Cribbs ran a kickoff, 2 kickoffs back for touchdowns, one going away from us, one going towards us.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was
fun day.
It was
fun day at the old yard.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, great seats to a bad game.
Yeah, records be set all over the place. The Browns single game rushing record is not Jim Brown.
When you knock Jim Brown out of the Browns rushing record, you had a day.
Well, I don't even remember. What was the guy's name?
Jerome Harrison.
So
Jerome Harrison.
Would it be true then that the rushing record for the Browns was set in Arrowhead and the passing record for the Oilers was set in Arrowhead?
I believe so, yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I can't imagine an Oilers going.
Warren Moon threw for about 5,000 yards.
527.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Felt like 5,000.
Well, if the offense could have stayed on the field,
kidding.
then
maybe, no, we were on the field a bunch. They just the 2 passes for a touchdown. It was both 40-yard and 30-yard receptions for touchdowns, and then we go back out there and have 6-7 plays and punt, and then he'd throw another touchdown pass for 80
Didn't you hear
yards.
Dick Vermeil? He spent all that time defending Greg Robinson about how, if the offense would have stayed on the field. Like, you scored 46, Dick.
Yeah.
The problem was not with the offense.
Oh, gosh.
And there are even the minions that went out to do his bidding. You're like, the offense is the play calling. Like, stop. They're scoring 40 points a game, and you're coming to the conclusion the offense is the problem. You've got to shut your mouth now.
Yeah, was that the Colts Chiefs playoff game you're talking about? Yeah.
No punts.
No punts.
The no punts playoff game. Yep.
Yeah.
No punts with the Colts.
This is the famous Marty Schottenheimer saying, okay, let's move the Chiefs to the warm, sunny side of the field at Arrowhead Stadium, and the Oilers will be on the other side, and they'll be cold and they'll be stiff and all that jazz, and Warren Moon just threw for 500 and whatever yards.
Yeah. Did they? I don't remember them doing that day.
Yeah,
that's wild. They used to be the way it was.
Yeah.
In the 70s, that's the Chiefs were on the far sideline.
That was the first and last time that I was on that sideline.
Wow.
Yep.
Didn't help, did it?
No, it did not help.
No,
it did not help. Although Patrick Mahomes will probably need a little bit of heat and ability to stretch out that knee, which I think he'll be able to do in this warm Kansas City temper. Yeah, thanks a lot.
By the way, can I share with you something that's going on here in Lake Tahoe?
Absolutely.
Easton John is here with us, and he's doing video and all kinds of different things, and he's obsessed with touching the machine, and I'm
better than touching himself.
I'm going to stab him in the hand with a pen here if he doesn't quit fiddling with the machine. Earlier he was picking it up to stick a T-shirt under it. Then he's always messing with this, and I'm just like.
But have you gone off the air?
Wow, spicy. He told you, Saran.
Yeah, not yet. So, but he loves to fiddle with the machine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if it's not broken, don't mess with it.
By the way,
right.
it hasn't gone off the air yet. Is like the lowest bar possible to clear.
Yes.
And
it's like I haven't gone to jail. That whole thing.
Yeah. And you're setting yourself up too. Once you bring it into you speak it into existence, it happens.
Yep, there it is. You just jinxed yourself.
You jinxed
That's what's
yourself.
Gonna happen.
That's right.
Yeah, but he loves to fiddle with the device.
Usually, Serena, I would be a little bit miffed by being bumped off of for a soccer guy, but that was a great interview and it was fun to listen to. So,
thank you. Yeah, he was good.
He was good.
We've been trying to get him for a couple of days, and he's like, "Okay, I have right now." I'm like, okay,
that's fine. Listen, I love you guys. So, I mean, that's fine. I only get an hour a week with you guys, but happy to give it up for an ESPN soccer analyst during the World Cup, and it was all good stuff. Right. Very good stuff.
I appreciate that.
No
problem.
All right,
you're going
let's
to
take
find
a break.
new hole in the wall when you get back.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right? Okay, good to know.
Now we know why. Now we know why his iPad doesn't work. He threw it across the room.
Yeah, my iPad's dead. I need a new iPad.
For a soccer guy. Enough of this crap. Yeah.
He went, whoa!
I actually went in and talked to Ben. I was like, Ben, I said, tell me a little bit about the World Cup. And I asked Ben, I'll ask you guys, do you think that it's going to have that spike in enthusiasm? You can't say that the World Cup is going to add more youth sport in the game, because youth sport in the game is already skyrocketed in this country. I mean, you drive by Garmin, you drive by any of these facilities that are around town, they're just packed
on the weekends.
Yeah, they're packed at night too on the weekdays. I mean, and maybe a little bit older kids, but a lot of people are out there. Those fields are always being used, and they're always being taken advantage of from all kinds of different people. But do you think that there'll be a spike in enthusiasm for watching MLS, or a spike in enthusiasm for watching soccer because of the World Cup? Or did the loss to Belgium, which, Ben told me, listen, Belgium is a great soccer team, and, we would have been very lucky to even stay close to them. That's how good they are. But, not people don't know that. I mean, everybody's like, oh, we're Belgium. We can beat Belgium. So do you think that spike in enthusiasm that we're feeling right now will last, is my question.
I don't think it'll be a spike, but I think it'll get a bump. I think it will. I think you bring the World Cup here. I think if people get into it, and yes, I think they'll carry forward. Part of the problems though with the MLS is I think the U.S. team isn't filled with MLS guys. Right, most all of them, if not all of them, play overseas. So it's not going to be like, okay, let me watch Balogun. Well, he didn't play here, So that's going to be one of the things. But I think they will get a bump. I think it's just the idea that soccer was going to revolutionize the world of sports in America in 10 years was just foolish to begin with. It's a slow, steady climb, and I think that climb continues. By the way, let's take a break. I got a little bit behind by squeezing in Taylor Twellman. One more with Tim Grunhard next. I'm live at the American Century Championships in Lake Tahoe, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. You listen to the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, talking to Tim Grunhard, Football Insider, life coach, Chiefs Hall of Fame center. Tim, how far are we from training camp now? About
a couple weeks.
Yeah, a little more than that.
Yeah, I think it's July 24th, I think the report up there.
Hang on, let me see. I think it's 2 weeks in a day. First practice is report day on the 24th. Yeah, first practice is 2 weeks from Saturday.
Okay. Is everybody in full workout mode, or is this where you take a little break?
Yeah, this one usually take a little bit of break. Now, I always recommend to guys, and I did also, is, continue to do stuff, do a little bit of cardio, do a little bit of running, do some stretching, open the playbook, study that a little bit. But give your body a rest, because you're getting ready to do a marathon of pain. And you need a little bit of time to just kind of get your mind right. So, yeah, we'll talk about it. We got a bunch of great stuff to talk about. I know you guys are real busy with the American Century, which is an awesome event, but looking forward to talking some Chiefs stuff here. And be interesting to get your take on whether you think Patrick Mahomes really should go and play the first couple games. And if he does, is he going to lose a little bit of that slipperiness? So he's not fast. He's not quick. He's slippery. He's a slippery guy. And that's what I think we'll all be watching. So.
Yeah, that for sure. All eyes are going to be on him, no doubt. Tim, you're the man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds great. Have a good time up there.
All right, thanks, buddy. Tim Grunhard, Football Insider, joins us every week here in the program.
All right, how many players have gone 4 for 4, scored 4 runs, homered, and stolen a base for the losing team? Brought to you by La Feta Delicatessen.
Fourth quarter of the program begins right now as we finish strong here on a Wednesday, live at the American Century Championships in Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Our coverage brought to you by our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. They're online at GannAsphalt.com, solving parking lot problems for more than 30 years. One contractor, all things pavement. It's Gann Asphalt and Concrete. See them today. If you own or manage a business, Gann Asphalt and Concrete has you covered. Make a great first impression with customers, with clients, with a smooth, perfect parking lot. Also, avoid any of those liability issues where your customers are playing bumper cars out in a lot that's poorly striped. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, solving parking lot problems, like I said, for more than 30 years in Kansas City. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com. Petro here at the American Century Championships. Curtis, Kyle, back at the studios. The big news, the big day, big days, I guess I would say now, for Tyler Tolbert. Here's the amazing run of Tyler Tolbert over the last 3 games.
Tyler Tolbert gets another start. That one's out over the plate and off of Luzardo, and Tolbert is on with 2 outs. Line, base hit right field. He's hit the ball hard twice. And now a slow roller to short. Turner has to hurry. He throws! Not in time. And now Tolbert hits it into left center field. And the Royals have scored in all 3 innings against Sanchez. And now he drives one to deep left field. And gone! Tyler Tolbert is 3 for 3. Boom, cuts it off and throws. He beat it again. And now Tolbert jolts it into the left field corner and gone! Tyler Tolbert. It's a 2-run home run. He is 8 for his last 8. He is 9 for his last 9. Grounded left side. Tough hop. Tough throw. Safe at first base. And Tyler Tolbert has 10 straight hits. Slow roller. And it gets by the third baseman, Bichette. How will that be scored? It's a base hit. Check swing. Lindor charges. He throws. He won't throw. Tyler Tolbert. Unbelievable.
It's almost like it was happening one right after another. You could hear Ryan's, by the way, thanks to Royals Television Network there, Ryan ramping it up with each one. It's almost like it was in succession.
Right.
You
It
know?
did feel that way.
Like that's hard to do, People say, like, you don't go nuts on, winning Game 3 because what would you do if they won the World Series? He found a way. He kept going up the ladder with each one.
Someone showed me. I saw it on Twitter. A screenshot. I guess Fox was carrying the game. One of the Fox stations. They have the same graphics, and the Royals were batting. I think it was Isaac Collins or somebody was hitting, and there was a graphic on the screen. Tyler Tolbert, 6 slots away. Like there was a graphic on the screen to say, hey, Tyler Tolbert's going to be up pretty soon. What? Like a guy chasing 3,000 hits or something.
Yeah.
So-and-so coming up soon.
They used to do that in the playoffs for Shohei Ohtani, you know, because there's a giant audience that wants to watch Shohei hit in his first playoffs with the Dodgers. And I thought it was a joke at first.
He is back in the lineup tonight, hitting ninth and playing right field.
All right. So we'll see what he can get done tonight. The home run that wasn't that happened in last night's game. Here is the Mets TV team. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, and Ron Darling on the home run that wasn't.
And he cracks one to deep right field, right down the line. That ball is out of here. Jorge Polanco, welcome back. 73 games on the sidelines, and that's what the Mets had missed. He gives the Mets the lead. It's 10-9 New York. That's a foul ball.
That's a foul ball. What are the trophies umpires?
Wow. The first base umpire, Tyler Jones, emphatically signaled fair ball.
What is wrong
But
with
it
you
looks
guys?
like this one's going to come off the board.
The call in the field is overturned. Foul ball. That's embarrassing. How do you miss that call?
I don't know.
I love the laid back. I don't know.
But they missed the call.
No, the umpire missed the call.
No, but they.
Oh, I see.
They
what
were
you're
like,
saying.
it's a home run.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Like they weren't immediately like that was a foul ball.
Yeah.
They were yammering it up about it being a home run and everything.
the replay is just so bad. I don't know. And I never will.
Royals and Mets back at it 6:10 tonight. The Royals TV. Steven Cruz versus Christian Scott. Mets minus 180 in this one.
Ooh, yeah, bullpen game.
Yeah, bullpen game. Do we know? So it's definitely not they don't have anybody who's consistently got length. It's just yet another pure bullpen game.
I can't imagine it'd be any. I haven't seen anything particular on it, but I don't know what it would be. What else it would be with Cruz getting the start. I'm not seeing anything from Annie on that. So,
yeah, okay. Well, try to keep it going.
Yeah,
keep playing some good ball. See if Tyler Tolbert can have another big day. I mean, he's now batting almost 400. He was over 400 before his last at bat yesterday, and see
if Caglione can warm up for the home run derby. The
home run derby is going to have Jack Caglione. He was selected to participate in the home run derby. I confirmed that he will have his father pitch for him. Good move, bad move with Dad pitching.
We were knocking this around. I think it was iPhone and I earlier today that that hasn't always worked. I mean, whoever pitched for somebody else, did Bobby Wood Jr. have?
Bobby had his brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember the guy who pitched for Pete Alonso a couple of years ago? Every pitch was just wheelhouse. He should have won the MVP, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, that would be the joy if his dad. I assume his dad's pretty good. I mean, I don't think he wants to go out there and do a bad job. I'm sure his dad threw him a lot of BP. So,
and also as we kind of pointed out last week, he might be the one guy who you're not really afraid of having his swing hurt. Maybe this would help him get that pull and lift thing going. We'll see.
Yeah, we will find out. All right, let's take a break. The Chief of the North newsletter is written by Seth Kaiser. We're going to talk some Chiefs football. He's written a great piece talking about whether or not the Chiefs know what's wrong. We'll talk to Seth Kaiser next here in the program.
The program with Soren Petro.
It is said that he was born under the open sky, at the base of the glacier. That is not true.
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, listen up. The journey to the world of flavor starts at your neighborhood hen house. That's right. The World Cup's still going on, and you can have wonderful recipes. Like maybe you want a Wiener Schnitzel, right? The taste of Austria. You can get it. So many great things to get at your neighborhood hen house. All you got to do is get in there and start shopping. They've got all kinds of World Cup gear for you to take advantage of. They are celebrating the beautiful game being here in Kansas City. Still one more to go. And if you're going to fire that grill up for a little tailgate or maybe just celebrate with 85% fresh, lean ground beef. Talking about USDA Choice Certified Hereford beef. It's just $6.99 a pound. Get those burgers on the grill. Talk about a Taco Tuesday. Make it happen. How about boneless ribeye steaks? They're $15, right? You can get them right now. 12 ounces, just $15 or $19.99 a pound. And nobody has a better seafood selection than your neighborhood hen house. So get back to the meat counter. Great spot for you to get stocked up and ready to go to watch all the great soccer action that we still have. It's all at your neighborhood hen house, locally owned and operated for more than 100 years, now employee owned.
Stop overpaying for your mortgage and stop missing investor deals. While other lenders are stuck quoting high payments and slowing you down, Cap One Lending is helping buyers and investors win right now. Home buyers, why overpay? With the right strategy, qualified buyers can access programs with rates starting in the 4s. Low or no down payment options, fast approvals, and closings in as little as 2 weeks. For investors, speed is everything. Fix and flip, we fund it. Rental properties, DSCR, no income docs, building your portfolio, we help you scale fast. So stop hesitating, stop shopping dead-end lenders, get your funding lined up now. Call Cap One Lending, 816-905-1111, or go to caponelending.com.
Cap One Lending, making your dreams a reality is what we do.
Cap One Lending, a Kansas licensed mortgage company. License number MC0026341. NMLS Missouri license 2468614. Programs and rates subject to change without notice.
Jeff Montgomery here from Miva Medical. At the ballpark, the only line you should ever worry about is the one for hot dogs, not the bathroom. Frequent trips could mean an enlarged prostate. Dr. Brown at Miva Medical helped me with a quick, non-surgical treatment so I could watch more baseball without interruptions. And now I'm in my seat for every inning. Don't miss the action. Visit Miva Medical, the leader in minimally invasive treatments for men in Kansas City. Miva Medical. Get in touch or learn more at miva-medical.com.
The world's biggest soccer tournament is heating up in the U.S., and on Kalshi, you can trade every match from the opening stage all the way to the final. And a match including Argentina here in Kansas City. Argentina trading at just over 15% to win the whole thing. That means a $100 trade could net you over $500. And on Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code JASON810 to get $10 when you trade 10. That's JASON810. It's Kalshi, Kalshi, Kalshi. Trade the beautiful game.
18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
In the soccer capital of America, every dream starts with a first kick. From backyard goals to game day moments, Kansas City plays with heart. And now you can carry that pride with the limited edition Soccer Capital of America debit card from Central Bank. Use it every day, gearing up for the season or celebrating with the world. From the first kick to the final whistle. Get your limited edition Soccer Capital of America debit card from Central Bank by visiting soccercapitalkc.com. Member FDIC.
He's a pastor who likes the passing game, an attorney who enjoys play action more than class action. And he loves to watch Chiefs game tape for hours and hours and hours. He's Seth Kaiser of The Athletic on the program.
Welcome back. You're on the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB's Fred Petro with you as we are live at the American Century Championships in Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Our coverage brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, more than 30 years. One contractor, all things parking lot. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com. Let's go to the North. The Chief in the North newsletter is produced by Seth Kaiser. He does a fantastic job on it. Great read. Love some of the stuff he's been writing here of late, and we are pleased to have him join us here in the program. Seth, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing very, very well. It's always good talking to you.
Always good talking to you, and I want to start with the piece that I love, and it's a question that we talk about all the time. Are the Chiefs right about what went wrong last year? Also, I think there's a little bit what we like to call, are you being honest about what's looking at you in the mirror? Right? Mm-hmm. Like, I think teams, want to kid themselves. You have a bad year. I think right now the whole mindset for the Chiefs is that injuries derailed them last year, and they just need some tweaks. Like, they acknowledge some talent issues. There always is every year talent issues, but have they acknowledged all the problems? And you did a great job breaking it down. Do you think that they've accurately assessed what went wrong?
For me, I think they assessed correctly on a few things that did go wrong. I don't know if they've assessed accurately on the ultimate issue. And so, we can tell what they think went wrong based on what they did, right? You can tell they've decided, okay, our running back room was probably the worst in the NFL, and we need to do something about that. And so they do a complete and total overhaul of the room. And they clearly had issues with some of their kind of execution level coaching. Your offensive coordinator, your position coaches. They do something of an overhaul on that, kind of a purge compared to anything else we've seen under Andy Reid. Your OC, your RB coach, and your wide receiver coach. They seem to think, at least on the offensive side of the ball, that was the issue. And then I'm sure you'd probably, again, like you said, you'd hear about injuries and bad luck and that kind of stuff. I don't know. And the really frustrating thing will be we're not going to know, fully whether Andy Reid believes that schematic issues exist until September. And we should know pretty quickly after that. Let's say we get into week 1 in September and they're, running the ball from under center a little more with clearly a more robust, and even when they're running out of like pistol or shotgun, they've got a little more robust system that they clearly have worked on the run game more. They're running more play action by, just even like 10%. And they're actually like utilizing Tyquan Thornton down the field and utilizing Xavier Worthy on intermediate, and then running a few different like variations that are maybe a little more built to beat match coverage type stuff. Then you can be like, oh, okay. So he said they only need a few tweaks, but he understood they needed to make some pretty major tweaks. Maybe not destroy, you don't need to tear it down completely to the studs, but you need to build a new wing at least, right? We won't know that. In the meantime, we know that they've blamed, in terms of what you're talking about execution level coaching on the offensive side, the running back room, and then on the defensive side of the ball, when you look at all the investment in the defensive line, they think that's a real problem. And, I mean, they're definitely right about that. Sure wish they'd gotten another defensive end, but I digress. So whether they got it right, to me, I'm genuinely not going to know whether they got it right on the last part, maybe arguably the biggest part, until September. And that is maddening, because if they get that part wrong, all this other stuff could really help, but it still could limit their floor and ceiling as a team.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. You broke it down to 3 things: the running back room, execution level, and talent on the defensive line, right? Like those were the 3 big things. But you also talked about the wide receivers. They did change wide receiver coaches. Yep. They walked on Hollywood Brown, they walked on Juju Smith-Schuster, and they drafted a kid in the 5th round. Like, that really is a statement that one of 2 things. It's either a statement, we think our wide receivers are good, we just need them healthy and not suspended, or 2, it's the reality that when you have a quarterback that carries the contract that Patrick Mahomes does, you can't fix everything. You're always going to have a weakness no matter what. You're going to have something you have to cover up, right? And probably in reality, it might be a little bit of both.
Yeah, it definitely could be a little bit of both there. You're never going to have a perfect roster. You're always going to have to make choices in a world where the salary cap is very manipulatable, but it's not. It still exists, right? Like I love to say, well, the salary cap's not real. And on any individual year, one can argue that it's not really real, but the long-term implications exist. And then, as you and I have talked about a bunch of times, the cash spending limits definitely exist. So if you've got an owner who's willing to spend unlimited cash any given year, you can manipulate the salary cap much more easily. But that's just not the reality that the Chiefs face. Clark Hunt has shown he's willing to spend some cash. He's more cash-friendly spending than some owners in the league, quite a few even, but I would put him, about average in that area. So you're always going to have some areas. You've got to make choices. And that's where, they've chosen to invest really heavily in the offensive line. They've chosen, they've picked certainly, wide receiver in the 1st round, wide receiver in the 2nd round, but they haven't been as aggressive there in terms of viewing that as an actual problem. So I think for them, they do have to acknowledge some of that reality, but they are placing a lot of faith in my opinion, Chad O'Shea and the talent level that they believe does exist with Thornton, Rice, and Worthy in particular, and their ability to stay healthy and on the field. They're also placing a lot of faith, in my opinion, in Andy Reid's ability to get the most out of everyone. And I think we've seen the limits of what Patrick Mahomes can do, and we've even seen to a point where it's starting to affect his play when other things aren't where they ought to be. So there's a lot of eggs in a few very specific baskets there. But I do think some of it is you just can't address everything, but some of it does feel like a conscientious choice because they could have gone some other directions in terms of what they decided to do.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. What do you think, like Rashee Rice, we've seen what he can be. What do you think is there in Xavier Worthy and Tyquan Thornton? How much more can they get from either one of those guys?
I think both of them, when you look at the specific skill set that they have, I'll start with Worthy. If you look at his college film
And then you look at how he was starting to progress as a rookie. Obviously the second year he had some injuries, and Andy Reid basically said, we're kind of more limited with him throughout the entire year in year 2 because we didn't want him to get hurt. So we'll see if he can stay healthy, see if he's bulked up a little, all that stuff. If you look at his college film, he was a solid route runner. Not an incredible one, but a solid one that knew how to weaponize his speed. He ran a full tree in the system at Texas. But where he was at his best was attacking the intermediate portions of the field, utilizing the threat of his speed to force defenders to flip their hips, and then, be able to, whether it's a comeback, whether it's an out, whether it's a dig, whatever. That's where he did a lot of his best work, and he had some nuance to it. He did some good things as a deep threat because of his speed, but he's not a contested catch guy at all. And down the field, because the ball is almost never going to be perfectly thrown down the field, even if you get separation and you track the ball pretty well, you're probably going to have to handle some contact through the catch. And that's never, I think, going to be an incredibly strong area for him. That said, he has high-level traits in certain really important areas. And so the ceiling for him, I think based on what we've seen, utilized correctly so far, would be like a high-end wide receiver 2. Which maybe that's not the ideal ceiling for a guy that you took late in the first round. I think it's perfectly fine. But that's what we see so far. I am curious to see what it looks like with a new coach there, and depending on how they utilize him. Because the talent, in theory, is there to maybe get higher than that wide receiver 2 type thing. But that's just all we've seen so far. And I think extrapolating more than that after 2 years in the league is a lot. You don't see a ton of receivers, raise their ceiling that exponentially in year 3. I think Tyquan Thornton is actually in something of a similar boat. I don't think he's as versatile in terms of the routes that he can run, but he's also shown himself to be a significantly better downfield threat. He runs through contact pretty well and is able to get to his spot. He tracks the ball well in the air. He's got excellent acceleration and excellent deep speed, which is 2 different things and an excellent combination to have, because it just forces defenders to account for that, because you're going to walk away from them early, get that 2 yards of separation, and then they cannot make it up at any point. And so for me, I think his ceiling is more of a mid-tier wide receiver 2 that actually has more value, though, because threatening the deep portion of the field has a higher it has a higher value to it than being like a wide receiver 2 that's more of a strictly like possession type guy.
What happened? Why did he fall off so much? He was being productive early to start, and then it went away. Why?
The theory that I have is, well, just, to reinforce your point, I wrote about this recently. So Worthy had 27 deep targets on the year, if you don't include one Hail Mary. 18 of them were in the first 5 weeks. And in those first 5 weeks, he was productive. He was catching over a third of them, which as a deep ball target, that's not bad. Because, there's a high value proposition there, right? He had 7 catches for 231 yards and a touchdown through 5 weeks on deep targets alone, right? He only had 9 the rest of the year total. And here's where I get frustrated, like really frustrated. Even though those 9 targets, he caught 4 of them, so about 44% of it, so at a higher percentage than he was earlier. And so he was catching, it was 17 yards per target down the stretch. So it's not like the quote unquote efficiency went away. It actually was better down the stretch, but they just stopped going to him. And the even more frustrating thing is, of those unsuccessful deep targets, there were 5 or 6 of them, maybe even one more, that were not really on him. That Mahomes hitched his throw a little bit, and he either overthrew or underthrew it, and it wasn't placed where it was really catchable when he had created separation down the field. And there were some big plays that were lost that way. There were. I mean, he could have been a couple of like 50 to 60 yard plays and touchdowns. Why they stopped going to him is my theory on this, and I have no idea, right? But they kind of went to him a lot more than they thought they would early on, because Rice was suspended and Worthy got hurt. And so they're just trying whatever they can to get anything going. So I think in week 3, you see, 6 deep targets for him. They're trying to find anything to get things going. Then week 4 against Baltimore, no deep targets. That's when Xavier Worthy comes back, but the offense plays really well. And this is where I think you have a really interesting series of events occur. Baltimore, Jacksonville, so this is weeks 4 through 8, I want to say. You've got Baltimore, Jacksonville, Detroit, Vegas, and Washington. Anyone who watched the Chiefs last year knows that was the 5-game stretch where the offense looked by far its best, right? You have Worthy coming back, and then after a couple of good games by the offense still, Rice comes back, and the offense looks like it's going to be a juggernaut. We know now that was mostly a function of playing bad defenses or really hurt defenses. My theory is that is maybe the worst thing that could have happened to the Chiefs, because it caused them to think that this was proof of concept, that the offensive plan that they had, which is very similar to the offensive plan that they had in 2023 and 2024, was going to work with Rice and Worthy and Hollywood Brown all on the field at the same time, and then with Juju mixing in. And I think they treated those games as proof of concept because the offense was producing at an elite level in those 5 games. They treated that as proof of concept. I would argue that got exposed against Buffalo right before the bye, and they should have looked at that and said, whoa, why was this working so well? But instead, they doubled and even tripled down with those same concepts and limiting Tyquan Thornton and treating him basically like wide receiver 5 or wide receiver 6, despite him producing when called upon. So that's my theory, is that they really looked at that as proof of concept, and they kept trying to find that the rest of the year until it was too late.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. What about the strategy of we're going to throw deep and that's going to open up everything else? Was that battery in backwards?
I would just say that the deep ball, it's all dependent on a bunch of other things coming together. And I feel like too often I feel like the Chiefs way too often in the last 3 years have refused to test the field deep. And then, the idea is, well, now we got to maybe almost force it deep, and that'll open up everything else. I would just say there's got to be a middle ground there where you can't be predictable. And I think predictability was one of the huge things that hurt them last year. And so for me, Thornton presented an opportunity to be less predictable in that you could threaten the deep ball and actually threaten it, right? Actually involve him in the reads, not just have him out there as a sacrificial X who's running routes that they're not going to anyway. And so I do think there's some truth in you can open things up by throwing down the field, but it's the willingness to do it and hurt teams and make them pay that will help force things the other direction, to where you get the defense like an accordion, right? Stretching out, then bring them in, stretch them out, bring them in. And they just never went back to it. They started just trying to do all the same concepts that they've been running for several years now, thinking, from what I can tell, that, oh no, now we finally got our guys and this is going to work.
Yeah, it seemed like it was okay, rinse and repeat, which brings us to the execution part of things. You're right, we're not going to know until they take the field and we see how they play. They did invest in a running back, but Andy Reid immediately, I've had some people say, I think that's reading too much into it, but maybe he's just trying to hold his cards close to his vest. But when he was asked about, hey, Kenneth Walker does great, from under center, he's like, oh, he can run under center and in shotgun. A lot of people took that to mean oh, here we go, we're just going to put him in for Isaiah Pacheco and it's going to be the same plays. I think you and I would both agree that it needs to be a different kind of running, correct?
Yes, it needs to be, at the very least, a much more diversified and better executed kind of running, which is why, having Bieniemy matters, having a new RB coach matters. Still got the same offensive line coach, and I think the Chiefs run it like pretty much every other team, where your offensive line coach is kind of your run game coordinator. And so it's going to be really interesting, because not only do they need to have more concepts layered in more consistently, and the reason I say it that way is anyone who says the Chiefs don't have a lot of run game concepts, I disagree. They have a lot of them. They just don't use a lot of them consistently, which I suppose one could argue I'm being pedantic, because if you don't use it consistently, who cares, right? It's oh, I've got this wonderful tool. Well, yeah, but you never use it. So does it really matter? And so they need to more consistently utilize a wider variety of run game concepts, especially considering the offensive line that they're planning on bringing in. And they have to change that up, and they have to have it executed better, which means they have to be more intentional about developing that better, rather than utilizing precious install time almost exclusively for the pass game, because it was both the lack of consistent variation in the run concepts, and it was also some sloppiness in how those were executed, which can go to coaching, but can also go to time. How much time are you spending on these installs? And the hope is, with the enemy back in town and them spending significant resources on Walker, which I imagine Reed signed off on, the hope is they say, okay, this is a weapon of ours now. Let's actually use it. That's the hope.
Yeah, I think they've got to have a lot more power. Right. And again, on the personnel side, like all three of their quarterbacks, I keep pointing this out, played quarterback in high school. Right. Those are not maulers. OK. And so and even some of the guys, Brenning Stool, who's, going to be fighting for a roster spot, who was on the IR all last year from Clemson. He's a long, lean receiver type tight end. Like that scares me a little bit that they didn't go out. They could totally shock me and be like, okay, we're going to put a 6 offensive lineman out there from time to time, which a number of teams were doing last year. I will be shocked if that happens. But it does not look like they said, okay, let's power up. Let's at least get one guy. Like blocking tight ends were going in the 2nd and 3rd round in this year's draft. And I think that's too high. I think the rest of the league is overreacting to what Seattle is doing and what the Rams were doing. But I still would like to have seen the Chiefs have found their way to a more physical tight end to help out in the run game. And that's a bit of a tell, the fact that they didn't, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. It to me is at least, and they kept their tight ends coach. And so to me, it's indicative that they don't necessarily see a problem there. That is concerning. Maybe they think Noah Gray has a bounce back year. He's blocked better than he did last year previously. I have no idea what happened to Noah Gray last year. Hopefully the Chiefs do. But they could have very easily, in my opinion. I think Will Dissly is still a free agent, and he's an excellent blocker. And to me, this would be so simple to line up a guy. Like if you want to watch, you could just check out his clips against George Karlaftis, sealing him off on the edge and even getting some movement on him. Karlaftis is a hard guy to block in the run game, and Dissly did really well. And you can see how that sets up the run game. I don't know why they didn't do that. That to me would have been one of the first things that I did, especially when this, and you and I talked about this before, the whole trying to find Travis Kelce light. It's not going to work. You are not going to find Travis Kelce light. You're just not going to do it unless you spend a first rounder on a tight end at some point, because no one else is going to be remotely talented enough to really take that on, barring finding lightning in a bottle. Like I understand he was a 3rd rounder, but that's like, oh, well, Tom Brady was drafted in the blah, blah, blah round. So you know what I mean? Like you just can't count on that. So that's been a huge point of concern for me. And it's one of the tells that we're going to see some change, but maybe not as much as I'd like, because one of the things that they kept trying was, even with their kind of jumbo packages, with their, they've got guys that are more move tight ends, and asking them to, dig out a 5-tech just isn't going to happen, barring Noah Gray putting on, 15 pounds this offseason and, rediscovering his run blocking. Maybe he will, but that is one of the things that has me concerned in terms of them really seeing whether or not there's some foundational stuff that needs to change.
We're talking to Seth Kaiser here in the program. Seth, we mentioned the defensive line. They did invest heavily in that. They also get Omar Norman-Lott back. When you look at what they have, Chris Jones, very expensive free agent, originally a 2nd-round draft pick. They've got 1st-round picks in George Karlaftis, Felix Anudike-Uzomah, if he's going to be healthy and play, if there's anything there. Peter Woods now added as a 1st-round pick, Omar Norman-Lott as a 2nd-round pick, Ashton Gelati as a 3rd-round pick. They had R. Mason Thomas as a very high 2nd-round pick. If that defensive line isn't good, they need to change either scouts, D-line coach, or D coordinator, don't they?
Yes. I mean, at a certain point, you can only do the same thing for so long while investing so much. And that's where, Karlaftis, I think, for a pick at the end of the 1st round, was a win. And they've been able to retain him for relatively cheap, considering he's a quality player. But they've got to figure out, how can we get it to where this isn't, Chris Jones and the Jonesettes, and how do we get it to where we're getting higher level production out of these other guys? And that's one reason I really, really like the type of players that they pick this year in the draft. Both their 1st and 2nd round pick, in terms of they're high ceiling players, right? They are players that have these really
these very high traits that make you hope that they can be like legitimate difference-making players. You know, Peter Woods did not have a good year rushing the passer last year, had an excellent year rushing the passer the year before, which, by the way, if you watch Clemson's film from last year, I have no idea what they were trying to do. Like with their pass rush plan, it was bad, and I don't like running someone down. But I mean, I've talked to multiple people, like, because I wasn't sure what I was watching, so I usually do. I reach out to people smarter than me. I'm like, what am I like? What's the plan here? Like, especially utilizing Woods, like compared to how he's used last year. What's going on? And they were like, I don't know. Like they were just like, it looks like they were trying to really heavily focus on stunts, and so the number of times that you'd see Peter Woods just not even really rushing, you're just like, what is happening? So Woods is a high-end trait guy, right? He has a unique amount of explosion and agility and strength, like that combination. And R. Mason Thomas, it just shot out of a cannon from the edge, and he's got more bend than you might think. He's a guy who can actually be – he's a really traitsy edge winner, which, by the way, that's really encouraging to me. Like, it's kind of like the opposite feeling that I get talking about the tight end room. Like, to see Spags be willing to sign off on a guy who does not play, like Ashton Gelati's a little undersized, but he doesn't play at all the way R. Mason Thomas plays, right? Two wildly different players. Seeing them willing to do that with a second-round pick, it's like, oh, okay. So I love that they're going with high-end traits guys, because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, and even Omar Norman-Lott has some high-end traits in terms of lateral agility to go along with his strength that made him a good pass rusher in college. He had a little more bend than you'd think for an interior guy. I like that they're taking these shots. And if you don't hit on any of them, then it's time to question, okay, is this our development, or is this our scouting? What is it exactly? Is it the scheme we're asking them to run? Because when you're taking this many high-end shots on guys, if you don't hit on any of them, there's got to be a flaw somewhere in the process.
And likewise, this should be put up or shut up for Chris Jones, right? He should not be double-teamed all the time. Again, if he is and they're not getting home, then they have failed in the scouting and or coaching department. But right. Assuming that these investments are good, and I'm with you, I like what you said about Peter Woods. And, this should be at 32 years old. He's getting, he's not going to be the best he's ever been, but D tackle, particularly on the interior, he should be able to still have a big year. You can still play at a high level on the interior into your low 30s. Like this is, yep. This is basically a contract year for him because he's much cheaper to cut than keep. And, it's either play great and have the Chiefs want to kind of renegotiate your deal and maybe tax some more money on, get some more money up front, or you're gone. Like he should, this is definitely how he should view this year.
Right. So the cap savings next year, and this is if they do nothing with it, and this would be if they don't do anything about like the fiddle around with June dates and that kind of stuff. The cap savings to move on from Jones next year is $18.6 million. That's a lot of money, even though they would eat a lot of dead cap still. And that's what happens with major signings like this. But then you save $35 million in 2028. So there's these huge cap savings. So there's definitely something to be said for that. Like if you don't have an elite player, there's a strong argument to be made that, $18.6 million is a lot of money, especially for a team that has some serious salary cap things that it needs to work through. And so, in theory, let's say Peter Woods has a really strong rookie year and Jones starts to drop off, then they've got some tough decisions to make, right? Or ONL and Woods both have strong years, whatever. The thing with Jones is, so many things were not clicking for the Chiefs last year. I keep coming back to a few moments last season, especially the Colts game, where I remember saying after the game that, like, of all the guys that have dragged the Chiefs to wins over the years, right, all the guys, the foundational guys they've relied on, that was one of the only times last year where one of them just took over a game and just would not let them lose. I mean, it was just stop after stop after stop after stop. It was insane. Does he still have that gear? He has to, because his cap hit next year is like I want to say $44 million, maybe almost $45 million. You are being paid to be that guy. If you're not that guy anymore, then there's going to be a conversation about saving $18.6 million. I think he'll still be that guy, but it is definitely that conversation is going to be had when you've got a team that's as salary cap strapped as the Chiefs are.
One more. You said you wish they'd taken a D end. Why another D end? I mean, I know they took R. Mason Thomas, but why another one?
I wish that they had signed some kind of functional defensive end in free agency. Everyone always said Cam Jordan. I understand maybe he wasn't actually an option because I think he wanted to stay a Saint. I get that. But some equivalent of that would make me feel more comfortable with the floor. Last year, it's astonishing the number of snaps that went to Charles Omenihu and Mike Dana last year. And to be clear, last year neither played well, right? The one thing is, people assume that it can't get worse, and it can always get worse. And right now, you are counting on Ashton Gelati and FAU or a rookie in R. Mason Thomas? Like, who's playing all these snaps opposite of George Karlaftis? Who's playing at the end when Karlaftis gets subbed out? Because I know he plays an insane number of snaps, but it's still like 20% of the snaps he's not on the field. So who's playing? And like Ashton Gelati took a bunch of snaps last year, and he was fine as a run defender. Kind of struggles as a pass rusher. That's a film review I got to get to here. I mean, who's getting these snaps? Because as of right now, you've got well over 1,000 snaps you need to replace. And as of right now, it's FAU is the next guy in line. Now, an argument can be made that with how kind of poorly Dana and the men who played last year, maybe it won't be that much of a downgrade, but that makes me nervous. And it makes me nervous about the floor. The ceiling, I can really see a vision for this. I really can. If R. Mason Thomas is what they're hoping he'll be on third down, and Gelati improves by 5 to 10% in year 2, I think you might be cooking with gas. Like you might really have something there, especially if Woods or ONL work out. But man, that floor gets scary if R. Mason Thomas isn't ready. Gelati is the same guy he was last year, and FAU is the same guy that we've seen. That means that you are once again deficient on one side of the line, rather than at least having a guy who's resembles league average in there.
Yeah, that's a great point. We're talking with Seth Kaiser. He does a great job, Chief in the North newsletter. Make sure you check it out. Bunch of great stuff up there to get you ready for training camp. We get you ready, Seth, for the Final Four, and I will start you with this. Just tell me, how many yards rushing are you feeling for Kenneth Walker this year?
I think I'm going to go with 1,250.
Okay. Effective in the passing game as well, then?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're going to see more from him there. I think the screen game comes back a little more.
Yeah, I hope so. All right, we're here at the American Century Championships in Tahoe. Great event. When was the last time you played golf?
Oh, 15 years ago. I'm a disgrace to lawyers.
I hadn't heard that one before. I like that. Who wins the World Cup?
Some country, I imagine. I couldn't tell you who's still in it if my life depended on it. Because, let's be honest, Soren. Now that America's not in it, does it really matter?
Yeah. Okay, so you at least know that they were knocked out. Just take a stab. Throw a country out there.
Is Argentina still in it?
They are.
Yeah, we'll go with Argentina.
All right, Argentina, and they base camped in Kansas City, so there's a reason for us to kind of get behind them now that the Americans are. Them and England are still in it, by the way, and they both base camped. They were 2 of the 4 teams that base camped in Kansas City, so that was pretty cool. All right, finally, we'll check in on this periodically. Certainly, you can change your mind along the way, but what are you feeling for a record on the Chiefs this year?
Oh, man, I think I've probably already changed my mind since the last time you asked me that. You know what? It's that time of year. I think they go 13-4, and I think they win the West again, and they're right back in it.
Oh, my God, that's the highest I've heard from anybody yet. Congratulations.
I'm an optimistic
Congratulations.
guy.
You're setting the bar high, Seth. I like it. Hey, Seth, great talking to you. We appreciate it. Can't wait to get to training camp. We'll talk to you in a little bit, and can't wait to be talking every week during the season.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
The program with Soren Petro.
Did you Google it?
I did.
What does it say?
The testicles.
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey, it's Todd Lebo here for Heartland Men's Health. We're in the heat of the summer now. Easy to get worn down, easy to not feel so great. Here's the deal. If you're my age, 56 years old, and you're not feeling great, it may be more than just long days and out there mowing the grass and getting hot and sweaty and all that, you may be losing a little testosterone. Heartland Men's Health can help you with that. Just give them a call at 844-447-6600. Make that appointment. Or you can go online to heartlandmenshealth.com and take a low T quiz right online. They've also got things that go along with low testosterone treatment, TRT, GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1, PDA, more. They've got all of the stuff to help you with your body composition. Make that appointment. Go in there and have the licensed medical provider go over all the details with you. He'll have a T-test, a PSA test. They'll do it all right there at that first appointment, and you can go from there. If you end up signing up for treatment, they waive the $99 fee for the appointment. You cannot lose with Heartland Men's Health. 3 locations around town, out in eastern Jackson County where I live, up north where Stephen St. John lives, and in Overland Park where we both work. It's heartlandmenshealth.com. Check them out.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
If you own or manage commercial property in the Kansas City area, you know what a headache roof leaks are. At WeatherTech Renovations, their commercial service consultants get to know you and your building so they can provide options tailored to your building, budget, and long-term plans. WeatherTech promises to deliver nothing less than what you deserve and nothing more than what you need. They respond quickly and provide detailed and transparent solutions for emergencies, preventative maintenance, or complete replacements. Call WeatherTech Renovations for a free evaluation. 816-988-8957. That's 816-988-8957.
Summer is here, so get into Trailside RV for a hot deal on your next RV. Visit Trailside RV in Grain Valley or shop 24/7 at trailsiderv.com and see why we will never be undersold.
Hey home buyers, before you choose a mortgage, make sure you've seen all your options. I'm Taylor with Smart Home Lending, and we help buyers compare options and find competitive terms with a smoother and more personal experience. Visit smarthomelending.com today.
When you're craving scratch-made food, 29-degree draft beer, and the best seat in the house for every game, there's only one place to go. Twin Peaks. From juicy burgers and smoked in-house wings to ice-cold brews served by the friendliest team around, Twin Peaks is your ultimate sports lodge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you never miss a moment. So grab your crew and head to Twin Peaks, where the views are great, the food hits hard, and the beer is always colder than your ex's heart. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views. The beautiful game deserves the perfect setting. Join Suede Cannabis and Friends July 11th at 7 p.m. at the Tree Room KC for a free consumption-friendly World Soccer quarterfinal watch party. Enjoy the match with great company, good vibes, and the freedom to be yourself. Show up, spark up, cheer loud.
When your network goes down, your business stops, and so does your revenue. ImageNet Consulting's managed IT keeps Kansas City businesses running with backup disaster recovery and dedicated VCIO support. Visit ImageNet.com.
I love days like these at the pool, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. I'm ready to make a splash with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza. Skyrizi is a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. At 4 months, most people saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe, and many were even 100% plaque-free. People also saw significant improvement in psoriasis symptoms of pain, redness, itching, and burning.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Now there's nothing on my skin thanks to Skyrizi, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Sports Radio 810 is the only station getting you ready for college football with exclusive coverage from Big 12 Media Days.
Lance Leipold, head coach of the Kansas Jayhawks.
When you have 2 senior classes of over 30, then you've got some gaps in experience and other things that you have to fill in. We've learned through the negotiation what we're trying to do best for Kansas football, Kansas athletics, and the student athlete at the same time.
Kansas City's home for college football. Sports Radio 810. WHB. We're almost done for the day, but there's just a few more things we'd like to share.
But there's still more.
Here's the kicker.
Here's the kicker of this whole thing.
On the program.
But first, the La Feta Delicatessen end of the hour answer. Jack Caglione is in. How many other Royals have competed in the All-Star Home Run Derby?
Ooh, great question. Salvador Perez.
Yep, 2021.
Right? Okay. Bo Jackson did back before it was like televised.
1989, he was the first.
Who am I missing in the middle? Is there somebody else in the middle? That might be it. I mean, No. Moose competed in it. He was in it once.
2017.
Okay. That's all I can remember. So I'll go with 3. There's somebody else. I'll go with 4.
There's actually 5. You missed the most recent.
Bobby.
Bob.
Oh. Duh.
In 2024. I know. I'd forgotten about it, too. And the other one, 1991, in his final year as a Royal, Danny Tartable in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Bo, Tartable, Moose, Salvi, Bob. And now Jack.
Bob. And now Jack will become the 6th. I love it. Mm-hmm. I love it like I love La Feta Italian Delicatessen. Don't forget that second restaurant's coming. It's going to be probably this fall. I was talking with Adam, the fine proprietor of La Feta Italian Delicatessen. They're very excited. Things are progressing, moving along. Right now, get to 143rd in Metcalf Southeast Corner. Get you the best sandwiches around. I'm going to tell you what, it's already on the docket. Me and the family are going to La Feta as soon as I get back from the American Century Championships here in Tahoe. It is our plan for the weekend. Adam, have those sandwiches ready. We're looking forward to it. We'll always great food at La Feta Italian Delicatessen. Don't forget they cater to charcuterie boards, all their sandwiches, and all kinds of great imports from Europe as well. Lots of Italian imports, great candies and different things. Get into La Feta Italian Delicatessen. You can find them right there on the southeast corner of 143rd and Metcalf. Let's finish with this. Curtis, there's a tear in my eye. My last best chance, which was getting worse and worse all the time, just went down the toilet. Detroit Tigers right-hander Justin Verlander announced Wednesday that 26 will be his final season. He has not pitched since March 30th because of hip and hamstring injuries. He'll attend next week's All-Star game in Philadelphia as a Legends pick by Commissioner Rob Manfred and be honored at the game, but will not pitch. Here ended my chance of collecting $100 from you, as near as I can tell. 266 wins for Justin Verlander, ties him for 37, 34 wins away. Next on the active list, does anybody, you guys want to take a guess on who it is?
I looked at this a couple weeks ago, and I can't remember who it was.
Max Scherzer, 222, and he's already 41, so he needs 78 wins. I don't think he's the guy. You might have got that if you were driving around in your car. Go ahead and tell me who's third on the active list, somebody.
No clue. What team? Currently,
the New York Yankees.
Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole. Now, give me what his win total is.
Probably in the 160s.
156. He's barely halfway there, and he's 35 years old. You know who's next? Chris Sale at 154. He's 37. Sonny Gray at 135. He's 36. There is literally nobody on the horizon that I can even make a case. Aaron Nola is the first guy I get down to under 35. He's 33 years old. He's at 112, and he sucks this year because I got him on my team. He's been terrible. You want a guy under 30? How about that? Like, okay, let's dream a dream. You got to go down to get to under 30. Logan Webb, 29 years old, has 75 wins. I am screwed.
Yeah, you'll be collecting from my heirs, of which there are none. Tell you what, if it gets down to the nitty gritty, I'll throw a $100 bill in a jar and mark it for you in case I'm not here.
Yeah, that would be great. I would love that. Yeah, so
17 years. Since my prediction, and I'm feeling better all the time. I was sweating though, man, when he came out off of the Tommy John. It was 18-4 and then 13-8 with 2 teams. I'm like, man, this dude might actually do it. But all it takes at that point of someone's career is just 1 year where you don't pile it up, because you basically have to hit it every year. When he went 5-6 a couple years ago, I'm like, okay, I'm good.
The Tommy John killed me, because not only did that kill him, he went down in 2020 with only 1 win.
Yeah.
Right. So that was basically taken off the board. Then he didn't pitch at all in 21. Then he comes back in 22, and you're right, just sprinkles all kinds of hope for me. Goes 18-4 with a 175. I'm like, damn it, this guy's Nolan Ryan. He's going to do it. He's going to get there. Next year, 13-8, 322, and then the wheels just came off. The injuries started piling up, and we find out that there's only one Nolan Ryan. 40-somethings just don't keep doing what they're doing. the way he did it.
And the injury came after a 21-6 season with the 2.58 at age 36. So I mean, he was steaming toward it.
Yeah. He was looking really good. He was looking really good when he cleared 200. And I thought, okay, this is the guy. I've had other guys that I was pushing for. Felix Hernandez at one point looked like he could be a guy. He fell off a cliff. CC Sabathia looked like he might be able to make a run for it. It wrapped up for him, I think, in the 250s or something. Maybe he got to the 260s. It's one of the great predictions of all time. You nailed it, Curtis.
It feels like when we are in a horse racing, the horses at the Belmont, that's the long race. When they get around that final turn, they go, oh man, the finish line's way down there. That's what I think about 300 wins. People get close and they hit that fourth turn, they go, oh God, I still need 50 more.
Yeah. It was fun while it lasted, but I literally think there is now absolutely no chance. Like, the Royals don't even get 10-game winners anymore. Like, no one. It is now official. All the guys that were a threat to make you wrong have now called it quits. So congratulations, Curtis.
Thank you.
I mean, the bet lives on because you said ever.
Yes.
But which was, like we've always said, was the fatal flaw in your bet, was that you didn't put a timeline on it where I would have to pay you. So the good news is I don't have to pay anything out. But I just don't see any scenario where I actually end up winning this thing now. It's rough.
I'm happy.
Listen, we appreciate everybody listening. Wrapping us up here, day 2 with the American Century Championship. We'll be back here tomorrow and Friday. Of course, our coverage of the American Century Championship is always brought to you by our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Your parking lot is the first impression customers get. Make sure it's a beautiful one. Gann Asphalt and Concrete can do it for you. They have been solving parking lot problems for more than 30 years in Kansas City. One contractor, all things pavement. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com. We'll see you tomorrow at 2.
In 1900 in Mazatlan, Mexico, 3 German brewers brewed the first Pacifico beer, an exceptionally drinkable Pilsner-style lager, known today for its crisp, refreshing taste and light body. Popular along the West Coast and for those seeking a balanced, easy-drinking beer. Pacifico pairs perfectly with a trip to the beach, a late weekend, an outdoor get-together with friends, or just firing up the grill. Pacifico is perfect for any of your warm weather activities. Found in Baja, imported by surfers. Pacifico, live life, anchors up. Hey, Soren Petro here. Don't call one of those 800 numbers you see on TV to replace or convert your tub or shower. Let your local plumber handle it. The one to know, the Plumbing Pro. They've been serving KC since 1980. They live here, work here, coach here, raise their families here. Plus, right now, ask for the Petro deal and get $2,000 off a new tub or shower replacement. Plumbing's taken for granted until it doesn't work. When you can't flush, shower, or do a load of laundry, trust me, it gets serious fast. That's when I call the Plumbing Pro. Plumbing problems solved. And don't spend your Saturday making 3 trips to the hardware store. You've got tea times and kids' games. Let the Plumbing Pro get it done. They handle complete plumbing service, sewer, septic, drain installation, and repair.